Chapter 1172. Qianyang Dragon Subduing Art. Du Xiaofu murmured. What Du Xiaofu had obtained from the resplendent runic light of the ancient scroll was a set of Hahuan schools, Qianyang Dragon Subduing Art. The Qianyang Dragon Subduing Art was definitely a top-notch set of techniques. It was unfathomably profound and had reached the peak of the earth level. It was only a step away from a true heaven-level technique. This Qianyang Dragon Subduing Art was also a set of Hahuan schools' dual cultivation techniques. However, this set of dual cultivation techniques was not something that the other dual cultivation techniques of Hahuan school could compare to. From the Qianyang Dragon Subduing Art, Du Xiaofu learned that the final stage of the Qianyang Dragon Subduing Art required dual cultivation. Dual cultivation was divided into 3 categories: upper, middle, and lower. The lower category was harvesting yin to replenish yang and harvesting yang to replenish yin. The lower category borrowed from the past and used human words to describe it. They hypothesized that the woman was their home and the man was their cauldron. They used sexual pleasures to complement it and used sexual copulation to deceive people into taking it. They took the filthy essence of the man, the turbid snot of the woman, and swallowed it as food. The Tao became more obscure. People coveted the pleasures of the woman's cauldron and lost their essence through sexual copulation. They called it harvesting. This was originally a matter of hastening death, but they called it the Tao of immortality. It was truly a lower category. The middle category dual cultivation techniques were similar to most of the Hahuan school's techniques. First, they cultivated one's nature. Next, they refined one's essence and qi to cultivate one's life. Men and women were connected by yin and yang. Qi was refined into spirit, spirit was refined into emptiness, and one's own foundation was refined. They eliminated selfish and distracting thoughts and progressed together. However, the upper category dual cultivation techniques recorded in the Qianyang Dragon Subduing Art were completely different from the middle category and lower category dual cultivation techniques. The man did not undress, and the woman did not wear a belt. In the end, they could achieve spiritual intercourse from 1,000 miles away. This upper category dual cultivation technique was not about harvesting yin to replenish yang in the bedroom. Instead, I gather the qi of heaven and earth to replenish my qi, gather the essence of heaven and earth to replenish my essence, and gather the spirit of heaven and earth to replenish my spirit. Because of the transformation of heaven and earth, I was created. Because of the fate of heaven and earth, I continued my life. If the qi of heaven and earth did not exist, my qi would not exist. If the qi of heaven and earth did not exist, my qi would not exist. If the qi of heaven and earth did not exist, my qi would not exist. Because heaven and earth are endlessly born, I am endlessly born. Heaven and earth are always new, and I am always new. Profound, too profound. Du Xiaofu was amazed by the Qianyang Dragon Subduing exercise that he had obtained. It was a vast set of exercises. Although it seemed to require dual cultivation in the end, it was completely different from the current exercises of Hahuan school. It was the best dual cultivation exercise. The most peculiar thing was that this Qianyang subduing dragon technique could only be cultivated by men, and only the most masculine men could successfully cultivate it. So this is the true dual cultivation exercise of Hahuan school. Du Xiaofu was amazed. He did not know why such a powerful and profound exercise of Hahuan school would appear in this place. Such an exercise would definitely tempt even the Kyushu experts. It's really a waste. A bitter smile appeared on Du Xiaofu's face. This powerful and profound cultivation technique was not of much use to him. If Du Xiaofu had cultivated an ordinary human exercise, he could have used it as a reference and benefited a lot. However, Du Xiaofu was currently cultivating the golden-winged Great Peng Bird Clan's exercise. It was completely the exercise of the Beast Clan, which was completely different from the exercise of humans. The golden-winged Great Peng Bird Clan's exercise was definitely not inferior to the Qianyang dragon-subduing exercise. The two exercises could not be compared at all. They could only be said to have their own merits. However, in comparison, Du Xiaofu felt that the golden-winged Great Peng Bird Clan's exercise was much more domineering, and he liked it more. After smiling bitterly, Du Xiaofu scanned his surroundings. Seeing that Su Ji's body had turned into a bloody mist, Du Xiaofu's gaze finally landed on the well-dressed young man and Yi Qiu. "What are you trying to do? If you dare to touch me, my cousin will not let you off." Yi Qiu's eyes finally revealed a hint of fear as her delicate body continuously retreated. The well-dressed young man did not dare to meet Du Xiaofu's gaze. He also continuously retreated beside the girl called Yi Qiu, his entire body trembling. The two of them had originally thought that with Su Ji around, the young man before them was dead for sure. Who would have thought that the young man before them would actually be so strangely valiant? Originally, it was just a flea that I could not be bothered with. But now I cannot let you off. A cold light flashed in Du Xiaofu's eyes. With a wave of his hand, two streaks of golden light shot out, landing directly on Yi Qiu and the well-dressed young man. Bang, bang! Given the strength of Yi Qiu and the well-dressed young man, how could they resist? They did not even have time to scream before they were smashed into pieces. The hundreds of disciples who had originally clustered around Su Ji and Yi Qiu all trembled as their legs turned to jelly. Horror filled their eyes as they scattered in fear, afraid that the terrifying young man would not let them off. "That is a malefic star. We cannot provoke him." The eyes of countless disciples in the surroundings trembled as they made up their minds to avoid the young man if they encountered him in the future. They simply could not afford to provoke him. Du Xiaofu did not pay attention to the disciples. He raised his head slightly and looked at the sky without leaving a trace as he muttered to himself. Has he finally attracted attention? Chila! At the same time, the rippling spatial runes in the sky began to accelerate. An aura spread out as an exit of the seal opened. The exit is open. It's time to go out. The exit of the seal had already opened. Immediately, an overwhelming number of figures rushed towards the exit. The disciples and experts of the Hahuan school were already waiting at the exit. The deacons and protectors of the Hahuan school were there to examine the disciples who had obtained the cultivation method and passed the trial. Du Xiaofu queued up, but he did not see Deacon Lu Chui. He did not even see the Hahuan school disciple who had led them here in Yuanqi City. More than 20,000 new disciples had entered the Mount of Clouds and Rain for trial. In the end, only half of them had passed the trial and officially become disciples of the Hahuan school. 3,000 to 4,000 people had died in the Mount of Clouds and Rain in 10 days, while the rest were directly eliminated. It was enough to show how cruel the trial was. If the new disciples who had been eliminated wanted to stay in the Hahuan school, they could only become outer sect disciples of the Hahuan school. The so-called outer sect disciples were actually not much different from servants. However, they would have the opportunity to pass the test and other opportunities in the future to become official disciples of the Hahuan school again. Otherwise, they would have to return home. Where's Su Ji? All the disciples had come out, but Su Ji was nowhere to be seen. This immediately attracted the attention of many experts of the Hahuan school. Su Ji was the focus of the Hahuan school this time. With his talent, many elders were already fighting over him. Once he entered the Manchu, he would immediately become an inner sect disciple. Moreover, he would not be an ordinary inner sect disciple. Now that Su Ji had not come out, many experts of the Hahuan school were worried. Elder, Su Ji is dead. A disciple who was questioned by the protector had no choice but to look at Du Xiaofu in the distance before replying honestly. Dead? How did he die? When the Hahuan school's elders, protectors, and deacons heard this, they were all stunned. Su Ji ambushed someone, but he was killed by the shock wave. After many disciples explained, the elders, protectors, and deacons of the Hahuan school roughly understood what had happened. What's your name? How did you kill Su Ji? What kind of treasure did you obtain? Immediately, a group of Hahuan School's elders and protectors surrounded Du Xiaofu. Disciple Fu Xiaodu obtained a yellow tear Manchu cultivation method. Su Ji took the opportunity to ambush me and steal the treasure. In the end, I don't know what happened, but he died by himself. Du Xiaofu answered casually without leaving any trace. In any case, these elders weren't there, so the dead couldn't testify. However, Du Xiaofu was worried about the Hahuan School's expert who was monitoring the seal on the Mount of Clouds and Rain. He didn't know if it would attract the expert's attention. The Qianyang subduing dragon technique had caused quite a commotion. Kid, are you lying? A middle-aged man at the peak of the martial emperor realm from the Hahuan School shouted. He didn't believe Du Xiaofu's words. If I can kill Su Ji, doesn't that prove that I'm stronger than Su Ji? Du Xiaofu looked at the middle-aged man and retorted. The middle-aged man was speechless. He didn't believe that this young man, who was dressed like a servant, had the strength to kill Su Ji. After that, an old elder and several protectors from the Hahuan School examined Du Xiaofu again. They didn't find anything out of the ordinary. The protectors and the old elder from the Hahuan School also asked Du Xiaofu what kind of cultivation technique he had obtained inside. Du Xiaofu had obtained quite a number of cultivation techniques from the Hahuan School. He said that he had obtained the highest cultivation technique, a yellow tier middle-level cultivation technique, to fool them. In the end, the old elder and the protectors couldn't find anything, so they had no choice but to give up. Congratulations on becoming an official disciple of the Hahuan School. You will return to the sect today. Those with good results will be selected by the protectors and elders of the Manchu to become inner sect disciples. As for whether you will be chosen by the Manchu elders, it will depend on your own luck. The old elder's voice was loud and clear as he spoke to the disciples who had passed the examination. Gur, roar. A moment later, a large group of demonic beast mounts soared into the sky and carried the disciples who had passed the examination to the Hahuan School. I wonder if Jijian is in the Hahuan School. Du Xiaofu frowned on the flying demonic beast mount. He had been worried all this time. I wonder what your name is, junior brother. I should be a little older. My name is Huang Ying. Junior brother, you can call me Senior Huang Ying in the future. Chapter 1173. A gentle voice landed in Du Xiaofu's ears. That voice was so charming that it made one's ears go soft. Du Xiaofu looked towards the source of the voice. A beautiful woman on the flying beast walked forward. This beautiful woman was about 22 or 23 years old. Her jet black hair was tied up in a princess bun with a pearl flower hairpin. She had fair and soft skin, a pair of slender eyebrows and thick red lips. The corners of her mouth were slightly curved upwards, carrying a kind of seductive smile. This woman's attire was also very flirtatious. Her chest was high, half exposed and half hidden. The curve of her body was exquisite and curvaceous, making one's heart flutter. You are indeed senior sister. You are already so old. Do you think senior brother would like to eat old grass? Just as Du Xiaofu was sizing her up in surprise, a clear voice rang out. He saw a young girl walking over slowly. She was elegant and graceful, with bright eyes and white teeth. Her face was dazzling. She was only 16 or 17 years old, but her figure was already graceful. This young girl looked at Du Xiaofu, smiled, and said, "Greetings, senior brother. I am Zhou Renjie. Senior brother can just call me Rong. This senior sister Huang Ying wants to become Dao companions with senior brother. Seeing senior brother's mighty and majestic appearance, she wants to hit on senior brother. Dao companions?" Du Xiaofu looked at Zhou Renjie and the girl called Huang Ying, slightly stunned. Hee, Zhou Ronger giggled and said to Du Xiaofu, "So senior apprentice brother still doesn't know. After we enter the all-pleasure sect, Those who cultivate the dual cultivation technique can find a dual cultivation Tao companion. This way, their cultivation will be like a tiger that has grown wings, and they will achieve twice the results with half the effort. The stronger the strength and talent of the dual cultivation Tao companion, the greater the benefits for the cultivator in the future. Some dual cultivation Tao companions, once confirmed, are together for life. This senior apprentice, Sister Huang, probably saw senior apprentice brother and even killed Su Ji. She must have seen senior apprentice brother's prowess and wanted to become dual cultivation Tao companions with senior apprentice brother. Zhou Renjie, what do you mean by this? Huang Ying looked coldly at Zhou Renjie, her eyes almost spitting fire. My meaning is very clear. I think senior sister Huang Ying is a little too old. If you and senior brother become Tao companions, it will be like an old cow eating young grass. I'm afraid senior brother won't like eating young grass. Zhou Renjie glanced at Huang Ying, then looked at Huang Ying and said indifferently, "And I'm much younger than you. I'm more suitable for this, senior brother." "You're courting death." Huang Ying was furious. This Zhou Renjie actually dared to say that she was old, and even dared to, but when she was looking for a Tao companion. She was immediately unable to restrain her anger, and was about to attack. She had long taken a fancy to that young man, called Fu Xiaodu. She didn't believe that Fu Xiaodu had accidentally killed Su Ji. There must be something hidden behind it. She was willing to take a gamble. "Senior brother, look at that vixen Huang Ying. She actually wants to attack me. Senior brother, save me." Zhou Renjie shouted and immediately leaned towards Du Xiaofu with a seductive look. She was the same as Huang Ying. She also didn't believe that Su Ji's death was a coincidence. "Cough!" Du Xiaofu coughed awkwardly and said to the two, "I don't plan to find a Tao companion." Huang Ying seemed to be somewhat afraid of Zhou Renjie. At this moment, when she heard Du Xiaofu's words, her breath stagnated. She was somewhat puzzled and said to Du Xiaofu, "Could it be that junior brother already has a Tao companion in mind?" "That's not it. It's just that the Manchu cultivation method I obtained doesn't require a Tao companion," Du Xiaofu said with a wry smile. Huang Ying was slightly stunned after hearing this. Then, she didn't say anything else. Disappointment could be seen in her eyes. If she could find a powerful Tao companion after entering the Hahuan school, it would greatly benefit her in the future. She would be like a tiger that had grown wings. Even Su Ji wasn't a match for this young man before her. Just how powerful was he? He would definitely be valued by the Manchu powerhouses. Becoming a personal disciple wouldn't be a problem for him. He might even be accepted as a disciple by the Manchu powerhouses. If he were to become her Tao companion after entering the Hahuan school, it would be tantamount to her being able to do whatever she wanted after entering the Hahuan school. But now, Huang Ying couldn't help but feel disappointed after learning that the young man didn't need a Tao companion. "Hee," Zhou Renjie giggled. Her graceful figure trembled as she laughed. Although she wasn't old, her chest was already towering, moving up and down with her laughter. It turns out that the cultivation method senior brother obtained doesn't require a Tao companion. It doesn't matter. Senior brother can come and find me at any time. If senior brother changes his mind, junior sister will wait for senior brother at any time. Zhou Renjie looked at Du Xiaofu with a coquettish expression. Her eyes were filled with seduction and indescribable seduction. Du Xiaofu could only smile bitterly. He couldn't help but think of those beautiful figures. If Dongli Qingqing and Qi Yeshi were here, they would definitely roll their eyes at him. If the tomboy and Sima Muhan were here, it would be enough to make him look bad. After thinking about it, Du Xiaofu couldn't help but think of Murong Yoro. If she were here, she would definitely smile and ignore him. After Zhou Renjie and Huang Ying retreated, no other girls came up. Du Xiaofu sat cross-legged and waited to enter the Hahuan school. The Cloud Rain Mountain wasn't too far from the Hahuan school. A day later, the outline of a vast mountain range appeared before everyone's eyes. The mountains in the mountain range were connected. The peaks stood like a tripod holding up the blue sky. As they entered the mountain range, they saw beautiful green peaks and clouds. The energy of heaven and earth was extremely rich. This was a treasure land. It was extremely extraordinary. That was why the Hahuan school settled here. Palaces and buildings were built on the mountain, revealing their outlines in the lush green. In the air, there were figures flying out from time to time. There was also an obscure aura coming from the mountains. Du Xiaofu secretly piqued with his consciousness. There were many talisman arrays around the Hahuan school. There were many experts and many disciples. After a while, in a densely packed courtyard, the new disciples who passed the test this time alighted from their flying demonic beasts. In the distance, there were many disciples of the Hahuan school. They were pointing and gossiping about the new disciples. Du Xiaofu raised his head and looked into the distance. They had finally arrived at the Hahuan school. Senior brother, those are the senior disciples of the Hahuan school. They might be looking for beautiful and handsome disciples to become Tao companions among the new disciples. Of course, the most important thing is still talent. Zhou Renjitter had been following Du Xiaofu all this time. She thought that Du Xiaofu was curious about the disciples of the Hahuan school, who were watching from afar. She explained to Du Xiaofu, however, those people are not very good. If they were talented enough and had a good future, they would have been chosen as Tao companions long ago. Back then, no one took a fancy to them. Now, they can only coax Tao companions among the new disciples. Or perhaps some of the senior brothers and sisters are tired of their Tao companions and want to find a suitable Tao companion among the new disciples. You know quite a lot. Du Xiaofu smiled and asked Zhou Renjie. This little girl seemed to know quite a lot. My family has a small relationship with the Hahuan school, so I know a little about the Hahuan school. Zhou Renjitter looked at Du Xiaofu and smiled shyly. She said, Senior brother, even if you don't need a Tao companion as a normal man, it's inevitable that you will need a Tao companion. When the time comes, senior brother can come and find me at any time. This junior sister is willing to give up everything for senior brother. Thank you for your kindness. We're here. Du Xiaofu's body trembled, and he immediately took the opportunity to avoid her. Ha! Seeing Du Xiaofu flee, Zhou Renjitter giggled. Her eyes rippled as she said, Interesting. Sooner or later, you won't be able to escape from this young lady's palm. You'll fall at my feet. Hahuan school. The disciples of the Hahuan school arranged accommodations for everyone. Some of the disciples with extraordinary talent were finally arranged to stay in separate rooms. The treatment they enjoyed was also different. It was much better than the other disciples. Du Xiaofu was also included in the lineup with good treatment because he was related to Su Ji's death. Zhou Renjie and Huang Ying were also quite talented. They stayed not far from Du Xiaofu's room. Dusk, when the sunset glow faded, the world turned into a silvery gray color. The milky white smoke and the gray evening mist blended together. The light penetrated the dense buildings, and everything in the Hahuan school were faintly discernible. The fluttering light enveloped the mountains, giving the Hahuan school a wonderful atmosphere under the curtain of night. A young man stood quietly in front of an elegant courtyard. He looked to be about 28 or 29 years old. His body was covered in a dark purple satin. His figure was extremely graceful. Under the young man's long and curly eyelashes, his clear eyes were like morning dew. They carried a faint charm and seduction. The charm in this young man's eyes could not only charm all women, but it could also make men's hearts flutter. It was very charming. Whoosh, a middle-aged man flew over. He had a muscular figure and a burning gaze. Did you find him? The charming young man's voice was clear. His hair was tied up in a high bun. His long hair flowed down his back like flowing water, giving him an imposing aura. The most suspicious one is a disciple called Fu Xiaodu. He caused a huge commotion at the entrance of the Cloudy Rain Mountain. The death of a peak sovereign personage called Su Ji is also related to him. He is a newly ascended martial monarch. He is very well hidden, the middle-aged man replied. He looked at the charming young man with reverence. Fu Xiaodu, the charming young man looked up at the sunset glow in the sky. No one knew what he was thinking. Sect Master, should we bring Fu Xiaodu here for questioning? The middle-aged man asked. Chapter 1174. There's no need. The charming young man shook his head and said softly, Tomorrow is the entrance ceremony for the new disciples. The square will be on full alert. Hearing this, the middle-aged man was shocked. Master, could it be that the enemies of the Manchu will come tomorrow? Could it be that they are preparing to? They don't have the guts yet. They are only relying on the support of the grand elders. The charming young man shook his head. Then he looked up at the sunset and said, A demon king has arrived at the sect. There will definitely be a huge battle tomorrow. We have to minimize the casualties. We can't alert the enemy for now. I understand. I'll arrange it now. The middle-aged man was shocked and immediately left in a hurry. Fu Xiaodu, Du Xiaofu. The charming young man looked at the sky and his eyes rippled. No wonder the devil religion and the son of the divine light court couldn't find you in the central province. So you came to Shang province and really came to the Hahuan school. Could it be that that little girl is really so important to you? As soon as he finished speaking, the charming young man's figure disappeared on the spot. At night, the moon was bright and the stars were dim. The sky was like a dream. When the charming young man reappeared, he was in a quiet room. A faint fragrance filled the air. A woman sat cross-legged on the bed. Her eyebrows were drawn like ink and her lips were like cherry blossoms. As if she sensed someone coming, the woman suddenly opened her eyes. Her eyes shone brightly as she got up and rushed out. Her hair was tied with a light yellow ribbon. Her black hair fell to her waist, and her waist was slim. This woman had an ethereal temperament. It was Ji Jian. Have you thought it through? As long as you join the Hahuan school and become my Dao companion, your Ji family will rise. You will be second only to one person. The charming young man looked at Ji Jian. His clear eyes were charming and smiling. That smile was enough to move the hearts of all women. Coupled with his identity, there were not many women in the world who could refuse him. Pervert! Even if I die, I will never become your Dao companion. Ji Jian stared at the charming young man, her voice soft and moving. Even under the pressure of the other party's invisible aura, she stood straight and did not back down. Her talent is close to that of a human sovereign. Her body is also very special. It's the legendary heavenly Yin body. The charming young man frowned and looked at Ji Jian. He took 3 steps forward and said, Are you waiting for Fu Dabai to save you? Brother Dabai. Ji Jian's eyes trembled when she heard this. She immediately looked at the charming young man and asked, What did you do to Big Brother Dabai? That guy is really a womanizer. Wherever he goes, there are women accompanying him. The charming young man raised his eyes. Under the illumination of the bright pearls in the room, his clear eyes sparkled like black gemstones. He looked at Ji Jian and said, You probably don't know what kind of person your big brother Dabai is, right? Hearing this, Ji Jian's eyes froze. Her jet black hair fell on her slim waist, outlining a moving arc. After being stunned for a moment, Ji Jian pursed her lips and said to the charming young man, I already know that Big Brother Dabai is not an ordinary person. No matter who he is, he will always be my Big Brother Dabai. Big Brother Dabai. Gazing at Ji Jian before him, the charming man's clear eyes were filled with a smile. A slight breeze blew by, causing her beautiful hair to flutter. Gue Yi had a soul-stirring temperament as he laughed. Tomorrow I will make you give up with your own eyes. At that time, you can throw yourself into my embrace. The charming young man disappeared after he finished speaking. Night in the room. Du Xiaofu sat cross-legged and suddenly opened his eyes. A light flickered in his eyes before it disappeared. Creak! The door was pushed open and closed gently. A familiar figure appeared in the room. Then, that person casually set up a seal. Her eyes were filled with charm. Although she was in her 30s, she was still charming. She was the deacon of the Hahuan school, Lu Chui. "Brother, big sister is here." Lu Chui lowered her voice and walked to Du Xiaofu's side with a smile. "Big sister Lu Chui." Du Xiaofu stood up. He knew her origin, so he wasn't surprised that Lu Chui came in the middle of the night. His gaze shifted and he handed the spiritual ice lotus to Lu Chui. "Fortunately, I did not disappoint you." Spiritual ice lotus. Lu Chui's eyes trembled. She looked at the aura that was suffused with a cold aura. Her eyes were filled with joy, and she immediately stored it in her Qinkuan pouch. "You are really big sister's good brother." Lu Chui gazed at Du Xiaofu as a smile blossomed on her face. She gently caressed Du Xiaofu's face as the corners of her lips curled up. Her seduction was self-evident as she said, "Little brother has done such a big thing for me. Why don't I reward you like this? Why don't I accept whatever little brother wants to do?" Big sister Lu Chui is too polite. "It was just a small matter. There is no need to thank me." Du Xiaofu couldn't help but take a step back. He didn't dare to get close to Lu Chui. Du Xiaofu knew that in the Hahuan school's dual cultivation method, there was a way to absorb yang to replenish yin. It was better to stay away from this woman. "Little brother, you are shy. You haven't really tasted the joy of being intimate." Lu Chui smiled charmingly. Her slender hands gently landed on Du Xiaofu's chest, gently pressing against it. Her red lips slightly pursed, and her eyes were filled with charm as she said, "You're really strong and muscular. Elder sister really wants to have a taste." "Big sister Lu Chui, I have some questions about the Manchu." Du Xiaofu asked. He was very depressed. He couldn't lose his virginity. "Little brother, if there's anything you want to know, you'll know tomorrow. Tomorrow is the entrance ceremony for the new disciples. I heard that even the sect master will be there personally. If you have any questions, the senior brothers and sisters in the sect will answer them." Lu Chui stopped after being interrupted by Du Xiaofu. She looked at Du Xiaofu and seemed to have thought of something. Her eyes moved as she said, "I heard that little brother seems to have killed Suji as well." This really surprised elder sister. "I don't know how Suji died." Du Xiaofu shook his head. Naturally, he wouldn't admit it. He didn't care about the suspicions of the Hahuan school. The most important thing now was to find out about Ji Jian's whereabouts. Du Xiaofu continued to ask, "I wonder if big sister Lu Chui has heard of the Ji family in Tianchuan City." Lu Chui shook her head and said, "I have heard of Tianchuan City. I also have some impression of the Ji family, but I don't remember." "Then I wonder if big sister Lu Chui knows that people from the Ji family have come to the Hahuan school recently?" Du Xiaofu asked. "The Ji family in Tianchuan City seems to be a vassal force of our Hahuan school. They should have some disciples in our Hahuan school. However, I don't know if they have come recently. I have been busy recruiting new disciples and am not in Manchu." Lu Chui shook her head. Du Xiaofu frowned slightly. It seemed that Lu Chui really didn't know. He could only think of other ways to investigate. "My good little brother, are you related to the Ji family?" Lu Chui was suspicious. She had been looking for information about the Ji family for a long time, which made her suspicious of Du Xiaofu. Seeing Lu Chui's suspicion, Du Xiaofu said, "To tell you the truth, I came to the Hahuan school this time because I wanted to find out about a young lady from the Ji family. I didn't know that you were such a romantic." Lu Chui giggled and said to Du Xiaofu, "If that's the case, big sister will help you find out the name of the young lady from the Ji family. As long as she is in the Hahuan school, I will be able to find her." "Thank you very much." Du Xiaofu smiled and told Lu Chui about Ji Jian's appearance and name. With Lu Chui's help, it shouldn't be difficult to find her in the Hahuan school. He also told Lu Chui to investigate in secret. Lu Chui didn't suspect anything. She was in a good mood after obtaining the spirit ice lotus. She didn't plan to do anything to Du Xiaofu after that. She even gave Du Xiaofu a few instructions for tomorrow's entrance ceremony before leaving. After Lu Chui left, Du Xiaofu continued to sit cross-legged. He was deep in thought. He would wait for Lu Chui to find out more information for a day or two. He would also use these 2 days to find out more information. When he officially became a disciple of the Hehuan school tomorrow, it should be easier for him to do things in the Hehuan school. I hope that no one recognizes me tomorrow. Du Xiaofu sighed softly. He was a little worried. Back in the Tianhuang continent, he had killed Cain, old ghost. At that time, there should be many disciples of the Hehuan school who saw him. He hoped that no one would recognize him tomorrow. I should be more careful. No one should recognize me. Du Xiaofu comforted himself. There would be so many new disciples tomorrow. If he hid in the crowd, no one would recognize him. After that, Du Xiaofu continued to regulate his breathing. He was afraid that there would be unforeseen events tomorrow. It was better to maintain himself in peak condition first. However, everything didn't go as Du Xiaofu thought. He would be able to hide in the crowd during the entrance ceremony. The next morning, the sun rose from the east and illuminated the mountains. The official disciples of the Hehuan school led the new disciples to the Hehuan school's plaza to participate in the entrance ceremony. Du Xiaofu and the others were arranged to sit in front of the plaza. Beside them were Zhou Renjie and Huang Ying from yesterday. The plaza was densely packed with tens of thousands of disciples standing quietly. The people in front were the absolute elites of the younger generation. They were all dragons and phoenixes among men. Chapter 1175. Tens of thousands of new disciples stood in the middle, not daring to even breathe loudly. An obscure and powerful aura permeated the square. There were many experts in the square all around. This doesn't seem normal. Du Xiaofu looked around and secretly spied. He felt that the atmosphere in the square was not normal. It was tense and oppressive for no reason. Du Xiaofu felt the presence of talisman arrays in the square. There were also many auras of martial royal realm and 7-star talisman masters hiding in the surroundings. There were even many auras of martial honorables and 8-star talisman masters hiding in the shadows. Could I have been recognized? Du Xiaofu muttered to himself and lowered his head. He was still worried. Senior brother Fu, how did you get your face like this? Let me help you wipe it. Zhou Renjie looked at Du Xiaofu, who was not far away, and was surprised. At this moment, Senior brother Fu's face was covered with dust from who knows where. His originally resolute face was almost unrecognizable. Zhou Renjie took out a handkerchief with a faint fragrance and was about to personally wipe Du Xiaofu's face. Thank you, junior sister. However, the entrance ceremony is about to begin. Let's just stand there. After the ceremony is over, I'll go back and wash up. Du Xiaofu immediately shook his head and signaled Zhou Renjie to stay away from him. This was something Du Xiaofu had done on purpose. Before leaving this morning, he had grabbed a handful of black dust and wiped it on his face. Du Xiaofu didn't want to be recognized by the people of the Hehuan sect. Naturally, he couldn't wipe it off right now. The dignified Hehuan school was full of experts. At this moment, he was still in the headquarters of the Hehuan school. If he was discovered by the people of Hehuan school, Du Xiaofu knew that a huge battle would be unavoidable. At that time, whether he could walk out of the Hehuan school would still be a problem. Whoosh, whoosh! As Du Xiaofu's voice fell, the sound of wind breaking could be heard from the sky. Du Xiaofu raised his head and saw streaks of light streaking across the sky. Seeing that someone had come, Zhou Renjie did not continue to pester them. She immediately stood respectfully and did not dare to speak. In just 2 flashes, a large number of figures landed in front of the rows of seats on the high platform in front of the square. When the hundreds of figures landed, waves of invisible auras froze the entire square, causing the hearts of the tens of thousands of disciples in the vast square to tremble. Among these hundreds of people, there were many who had the aura of a martial honorable and an 8-star talisman master. There were also many real martial venerables and 8-star spiritual talisman masters. Among them, there were even Hunyuan martial venerables and Hunyuan spiritual talisman masters. It was evident that there were many experts in Hahuan school. Their strength was only below the top behemoths in Shangzhou. On the high platform, beside those people, there was a young man who looked to be about 27 or 28 years old, standing quietly. His white and fair face was shrouded in the morning sun, revealing an angular curve. In particular, the young man's beautiful lips seemed to be showing off his nobility and elegance. There was a faint charm in his eyes. "Greetings, sect master." On the square, tens of thousands of disciples bowed to him. When Du Xiaofu's gaze fell on the charming young man, his eyes trembled violently as if he had been struck by lightning. How could Du Xiaofu forget the charming young man? Back then, on the Tianhuang mainland, this person had chased after him and Dongli Qingqing. In the end, they had met the Yin Thunder old man from the devil religion. The charming young man and the Yin Thunder old man had joined forces to deal with Dongli Qingqing. Later on, Dongli Qingqing's master had used a wisp of primordial spirit power to frighten away the Yin Thunder old man and the charming young man. However, the charming young man had returned in the end. As for the final all-out battle, Du Xiaofu himself did not know why he had blacked out. He only vaguely remembered that the other party had used a primordial spirit attack. When he woke up, the charming young man had already disappeared. Dongli Qingqing had also left behind a voice transmission before disappearing. This left Du Xiaofu with some doubts. He is the Hahuan school's sect master, Su Muxin. Du Xiaofu's eyes trembled. No wonder the charming young man had attacked as soon as they met. It turned out that the charming young man was the Hahuan school's sect master. During this period of time, Du Xiaofu had inquired about the Hahuan school. The Hahuan school's sect master was called Su Muxin and was an extremely terrifying expert. Su Muxin was not very old, but she was very famous in Shangzhou. Even the leaders of the top forces did not dare to underestimate Su Muxin. "It's Jian. She is indeed from the Hahuan school." Then Du Xiaofu's gaze fell on a young woman beside Su Muxin, and he secretly trembled. The woman's eyebrows were like ink, her lips were like cherry blossoms, and her spirit was like autumn waters. She appeared ethereal and elegant, and she had an unforgettable, gentle temperament. Who else could she be other than Ji Jian from the Ji family? However, at this moment, Du Xiaofu was sizing up Ji Jian. She seemed fine, but her aura was stagnant and her expression was abnormal. It was obvious that she had been restricted. "You may all rise." Su Muxin looked at the square and waved her purple robe, indicating for the disciples to rise. Her figure was elegant under the crimson purple satin, reflecting a faint purple glow under the morning sun. The disciples stood up and looked at Su Muxin. Her genderless beauty caused many of the female disciples in the square to reveal ripples of infatuation in their eyes. They wanted nothing more than to receive the sect master's favor. Su Muxin's gaze swept across the square, causing Du Xiaofu to immediately lower his head and retract his aura. "Let's postpone today's sect entrance ceremony and settle some other matters first." Su Muxin's hair was tied up in a high bun, and her long hair flowed down her back like flowing water. She smiled faintly, and that smile seemed to have a kind of beauty that didn't differentiate between gender. It was soul-stirring. Looking at the disciples in the square, Su Muxin continued, "Not long ago, something happened to the Ji family in Tianchuan City. Hahuan School's disciple Xiang Churan was crippled, and Elder Min Ani was killed. Elder Xiang Huangshan and several other elders and protectors were also killed. This time it was all done by someone called Fu Dabai before Su Muxin could finish speaking. The entire square was in an uproar. Who exactly is this Fu Dabai? The Hahuan School's disciples burst into an uproar as they exclaimed in surprise. Many of the Hahuan School's disciples knew that Elder Xiang Huangshan was a transcendent, martial, venerable expert. He had killed dozens of Hahuan school's experts in a row. This was a provocation to the Hahuan school. Right now, Fu Debai has mixed in with the new disciples and is hiding in the Hahuan school. All disciples leave the square. Su Muxin said indifferently as her gaze landed on Du Xiaofu. Fu Debai is mixed in with them. Hearing this, the surrounding Hahuan school's disciples, both old and new, immediately retreated. This was Fu Debai, someone who could even kill Elder Xiang Huangshan. How could they be a match for him? If they fought, the consequences would be unimaginable. Beside Su Muxin, Ji Jian's eyes darted around as she scanned the square. She was currently restrained and could not move at all. Phew! Du Xiaofu took a deep breath and did not retreat. He raised his head slightly, and a bitter smile appeared on his dust-covered face. Su Muxin from the Hahuan school must have known that he was in the Hahuan school. It was ridiculous that he was still hiding. All the Hahuan school's disciples in the square retreated in shock and panic. In the blink of an eye, Du Xiaofu was the only one left in the square. Swish, swish! In an instant, the gazes of everyone present fell onto Du Xiaofu, and many gazes were filled with astonishment. On the high platform, Su Muxin looked at Du Xiaofu. Looking at his face covered in dust, she did not know why, but she could not help but feel ripples in her heart. That is an ill-fated relationship. I should not have come to Tianhuang mainland. From now on, we have nothing to do with each other. I said that if we meet again, I will not hold back. Why am I still feeling uneasy now? Su Muxin muttered to herself and frowned. She suppressed the ripples in her heart. She recognized the face covered in dust at once. She did not forget it at all. It seems that you have been waiting for me here for a long time. Du Xiaofu spoke. He had already reached the worst point. He might as well not hold back anymore. With a shake of his long sleeve, he wiped the dust off his face and revealed his resolute and determined face. On the high platform, Ji Jian's eyes were fixed on Du Xiaofu. At this moment, her eyes were darting around rapidly, as if she wanted to say something. However, because of the restriction, she couldn't speak and her body couldn't move. She could only be anxious. Something doesn't seem right. In the crowd, Zhou, Renjir, and Huang Ying, as well as Deacon Lu Chui, who was also on the square, looked at the young man who was facing off against their sect master. They were all astonished. They could clearly feel that something was wrong with what was happening. It was as if something had exceeded their expectations. You have to pay the price for killing so many powerful people from Hahuan school, Su Muxin said in a clear voice. They used their power to bully others and provoked me. What harm is there in killing them? Du Xiaofu said as he looked at Su Muxin. So you're that Fu Debai. You'll definitely regret killing someone from my Fei clan today. As soon as Du Xiaofu's voice fell, a gloomy voice suddenly sounded. Whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, more than 10 figures rushed onto the square from all directions. Boom! Powerful auras swept out and froze the square. There were several auras of martial honorables and 8-star spiritual talisman masters. Not far from Su Muxin, a gray-robed old woman in her 70s appeared out of thin air and landed in front of Du Xiaofu. She looked at Du Xiaofu with a sinister gaze. This was the old woman who had just spoken. People from the Fei family? I didn't kill many of them. That vicious woman, Fei Ying, deserved to die. Du Xiaofu looked around and finally looked at the gray-robed old woman. Ha ha! Staring at Du Xiaofu with a sinister gaze, the gray-robed old woman was not angry. Instead, she laughed and said in a sinister voice, Good, good, good. How dare you kill people from the Fei family? Brat, you will regret it. No matter who you are, the Fei family will not let you off today. The Fei family is nothing. Du Xiaofu smiled faintly and looked at the gray-robed old woman. Since he had already been recognized, he had no other choice but to fight. It would not be easy to leave the Hahuan school, which was full of experts. However, Du Xiaofu did not care about the Fei family of the Hahuan school. He had the devil religion, legalism, and dragons. Below him were the ancient Fist sect, the Divine Light Court, and other enemies. The Fey family was nowhere to be found. This sudden turn of events caused countless gazes to be filled with astonishment. Quite a number of disciples looked at each other in dismay. They were still unaware of what had happened. However, everyone was able to faintly sense that this matter was very serious, very serious. How arrogant! The gray-robed old woman raised her head slightly and looked at the disciples around her. She seemed to have realized that she had lost her composure. She laughed coldly and stretched out her withered hands. She said to Du Xiaofu coldly, "Since that is the case, I will give you two choices. Kill yourself and leave your corpse intact, or I will personally destroy your spiritual soul." Chapter 1176. Du Xiaofu shot a disdainful glance at the gray-clothed old woman. His voice was accompanied by profound energy as it reverberated through the plaza. "I'm afraid that you alone won't be enough. If you want to deal with me, I'm afraid that your Hahuan school can only get those grand elders and Su Mushin to take action." Arrogant brat! The gray-clothed old woman's eyes were filled with killing intent as she stared straight at Du Xiaofu. "There's no need to provoke me." Su Mushin stared straight at Du Xiaofu as her eyes rippled. It wasn't hard for anyone to understand the meaning behind Du Xiaofu's words. She said, "Don't worry, I don't need to take action to deal with you. There's also no need to alert the Manchues Grand Elders. If you can leave here alive today, I'll consider you capable." "Is that so?" Du Xiaofu slowly raised his head and looked around. A smile flashed across his resolute face. His smile was filled with arrogance. Finally, he looked at the gray-clothed old woman and said, "If the Fei family wants to take revenge on me, I'm afraid that with your peak transcendent martial honorable cultivation, you're not much stronger than Xiang Huangshan. You're not qualified." As Du Xiaofu's words fell, many of the Hahuan school's experts around the plaza were stunned. On the high platform, Su Mushin's eyes were quietly looking at the plaza. There were no more ripples in her eyes. "Fu Xiaodu Fu Debai. Who exactly is he? He's actually not afraid of Elder Fei. Was he really the one who killed Elder Xiang?" Zhou Renjie, Huang Ying, and Lu Chui, who had retreated far away, were all astonished. He, the Hahuan school's disciples in the plaza were all astonished. The old woman from the Fei family was stunned for a moment before she started laughing out of anger. For hundreds of years, she had helped the Fei family to stand tall and secure a place in Hahuan school. When had she ever been looked down upon by a junior like this? Everyone could feel the monstrous anger in the old woman's voice. Without a doubt, the peak transcendent martial Saint Fei clan's old woman was completely infuriated by Du Xiaofu. When he heard the Fei family old lady's laughter, Du Xiaofu remained unmoved. Both of his eyes stared at the Fei family old lady as a faint golden light flashed. Faintly, it seemed as if a golden-winged rock was about to emerge. Du Xiaofu didn't want to expose himself in Hahuan school. This was equivalent to putting himself in a desperate situation. However, his life had been saved by Jijian, and he had also obtained the hegemonic arts from the Ji family. Du Xiaofu couldn't turn a deaf ear to this and had to come. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was in Hahuan school. This was the headquarters of the Hahuan school. With so many people and so many experts, he was in a precarious situation. Du Xiaofu wasn't afraid of the peak transcendent martial saint from the Fei family. With his current cultivation, it wouldn't be much of a problem to kill her. Right now, Du Xiaofu's greatest worry was the encirclement of the Hahuan school and the hidden experts. Thus, he had used some superficial provocation at the beginning. Even if it was just Su Mushin, Du Xiaofu knew that it would be difficult for him to deal with her. Furthermore, the dignified Hahuan school was stronger than the 7-star hall when it was at its peak. Du Xiaofu would never believe that there weren't any martial domain realm cultivators or 9-star spiritual talisman masters. A strange look flashed across Du Xiaofu's eyes. Although his provocation wasn't very profound, it seemed to be the most effective at the moment. When she saw Du Xiaofu's expression, the Fei family old lady's face finally turned gloomy to the point of being distorted. Strange runes flickered on her withered palms. Traces of mysterious runes that caused one's heart to palpitate flickered like lightning. Chi! In the next instant, the Fei family old lady's figure seemed to have turned into a ghostly afterimage. Her withered palms formed hand seals at the same time, and a vast power froze the void. Boom! Under the astonished gazes of the crowd, the Fei family old lady's figure tore through space and appeared above Du Xiaofu's head in an instant. A resplendent light erupted like a blazing sun. "Brat, go to hell!" Her voice was sinister. The Fei family old lady's final hand seal had already formed at lightning speed. Then she clenched her withered palms. The vast and surging profound energy followed the energy of heaven and earth and transformed into a gigantic hand seal that was over 100 feet wide. The gigantic hand seal was covered with mysterious runes. When it descended, it directly sealed off all of Du Xiaofu's escape routes and directly enveloped Du Xiaofu. Everyone looked at each other in astonishment. At the same time, Du Xiaofu made his move. His clear eyes suddenly shone with a boundless golden light. Faint golden runes flickered on his skin. In that instant, an incomparably domineering aura suddenly spread out from his tall and straight body. His long robes fluttered, domineering and disdainful. Boom! The space of the plaza suddenly trembled violently. Du Xiaofu's feet fiercely stomped on the plaza. His strength rose from the ground, and instantly, cracks appeared on the ground of the plaza. Aolo! Everything was as fast as lightning. Instead of retreating, Du Xiaofu advanced. His terrifying aura soared into the sky like a peerless, ferocious beast. Suddenly, a golden fist condensed in his hand. Accompanied by the roar of a dragon and the long cry of a divine elephant, the fist collided with the enormous energy of that hand with an overbearing and disdainful momentum. Under the astonished gazes of the crowd around the plaza, the golden fist seal and the gigantic hand seal collided fiercely like meteorites. Instantly, a muffled sound that made one's soul tremble and scalp tingle resounded throughout the plaza. Rumble, a huge explosion of energy, instantly resounded throughout the entire plaza and spread throughout the Hahuan school. Waves of terrifying runic waves spread out from the point of collision between the hand seal and the fist seal like raging waves. They exploded in all directions, and the cracks on the ground of the plaza spread into the distance like a spider web. Golden light shone brightly and strange runes swept out. This terrifying movement was like a volcanic eruption, causing one's heart to involuntarily tremble. Puff, puff! Tens of thousands of gazes watched as the two collided. In just a moment, a figure was directly sent flying like a kite with a broken string. Large mouthfuls of dark red blood were spat out, and finally landed heavily on the ground of the plaza 100 feet away. Crack, crack! The body smashed into the ground, causing the ground of the plaza to tremble. The plaza, which had been reinforced by the rune array, also began to crack. Tens of thousands of gazes hurriedly looked over. When they saw that the figure that had smashed into the ground like a bird with broken wings was actually Elder Fei, the gazes of the entire plaza immediately froze. In the hearts of the surrounding Hahuan school disciples, a wave of uncontrollable shock surged out from their hearts. Originally, there were more than 10 experts from the Fei family who had surrounded Du Xiaofu from all directions. At this moment, when they saw the sudden scene where a peak transcendent martial honorable expert was unable to block a single move from the opponent, they all felt a chill run down their spines. On the high platform, the gazes of many experts from the Hahuan school couldn't help but fiercely tremble at this moment. Su Muxin frowned slightly as the body of the old woman from the Fei family smashed into the ground, her eyes slightly raised. Puff, puff! The old woman from the Fei family was still spitting out blood. Her blood was mixed with her shattered internal organs. One of her withered hands was also dripping with blood from cracks. It was soft as if her bones had been directly shattered. The 5 viscera and 6 bowels of the old woman's body had been directly shattered. Although she wasn't dead yet, she could be considered to be crippled. Du Xiaofu stood in the air at a low altitude. His body was glistening with golden light, and his eyes were like an ocean of golden light, overbearing and terrifying. That terrifying aura made people feel as if they were facing a tyrannical, ferocious bird. Those who were weaker felt their souls tremble. I've said before, with your peak, transcendent, martial, honorable cultivation, you don't have the qualifications to touch me. A gloomy and sharp voice came out from Du Xiaofu's mouth. A strong wind fluctuated in the air, and the hair behind his head fluttered. His gaze was cold as he looked at the old woman from the Fei family, who was almost crippled. The eyes of the old woman from the Fei family trembled. Her distorted old face was filled with shock and fear, as well as some resentment. Demon King, he's the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. Suddenly, on the high platform behind Su Muxin, a beautiful woman cried out in shock. Her expression and voice were as if she had seen a ghost, and it reverberated in the square. This beautiful woman had brought the disciples of the Hahuan school to the Tianhuang continent with Cain. She had personally witnessed the terrifying savagery of the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. She had also heard of the Demon King, Du Xiaofu's brutal deeds in the Tianhuang continent. Chapter 1177. That's right, he's the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. I'll remember him even if he turns into ashes. Demon King, Du Xiaofu. He's the leader of the 12 godly heroes, the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. As the beautiful woman's voice fell, some of the disciples who had been to Tianhuang mainland in the crowd around the square suddenly exclaimed in shock after they were reminded of it. He's the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, the leader of the 12 godly heroes, the Demon King who even killed the descendants of the true dragons? Heavens, Fu Dabai is the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. Why did he come to our Hahuan school? I heard that Elder Cain was killed by the Demon King on Tianhuang mainland. In an instant, the Hahuan school square was in an uproar. The legends of Tianhuang mainland were brought back to the Hahuan school by the disciples who had been to Tianhuang mainland. The Demon King, Du Xiaofu's name, resounded throughout the Hahuan school. Furthermore, the Demon King, Du Xiaofu's name had already spread throughout Shangzhou. Many of the Hahuan school's disciples even revered the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. He had killed the descendants of the true dragons, reigned over Tianhuang mainland, and left behind many savage legends. Such a terrifying existence made people yearn for and revere him. And now, the leader of the 12 godly heroes, the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, who was ranked above Kyushu, had appeared in front of them. Just now he had crippled Elder Fei, who was at the peak of the extraordinary martial, venerable realm, in one move. This was enough to prove the terrifying strength of the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. On the high platform, Jijian's eyes moved in their sockets as they rippled. It was obvious that Jijian was also very shocked. She had heard the Demon King, Du Xiaofu's name before, even when she was at her grandmother's house. Jijian muttered in her heart. So her big brother Da Bai was actually the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. On the high platform, the Demon King, Du Xiaofu's name was spread. The top Xiong's Du Xiaofu's name. Su Muxin was the only one who wasn't surprised. She already knew about it. The name of Demon King, Du Xiaofu spread, and in an instant, the entire square was filled with undercurrents. Activate the seal to suppress the Demon King. A middle-aged man appeared in the square. Rumble. As the middle-aged man's voice fell, many rune-light pillars appeared around the square. Waves of rune-light pillars soared into the sky with Du Xiaofu as the center. Finally, they gathered in the sky and activated a terrifying seal array. This terrifying seal array covered the sky and the sun. Its terrifying aura made people's primordial spirits tremble. Roar! The runes around the seal array were resplendent. A dazzling light filled the air. The shadows of various strange beasts were faintly lingering on the surface of the seal array. Even an ordinary martial domain realm cultivator would not be able to escape from the seal array. This demon king has come to our Hahuan school to seek his own death. I heard that the devil religion and the divine radiant court are searching for this demon king in the central region. Who would have thought that this demon king would actually come to our Hahuan school to seek his death? As the seal array was activated, some of the experts from the Hahuan school on the high platform were delighted. The seal array could even trap an ordinary martial domain realm expert. No matter how ferocious and powerful the demon king Du Xiaofu was, he would definitely die today. As the seal array was activated, its power filled the sky and the earth. The cracks on the ground of the square became more and more intense. The wind and clouds surged in the sky. The terrifying power caused the sky to change color. All the Hahuan school, disciples around the square, were trembling in fear. This was especially true for the new disciples who had just joined this time. Each and every one of them felt their scalps go numb. How could they have imagined that there was such a terrifying expert hidden among them? Why is there no movement? Could he have been suppressed to death? A moment later, no activity was emitted from within the trapping beast star, suppressing Great Array. This caused the smiling experts from the Hehuan sect to involuntarily reveal doubtful expressions. Finally, someone could not help but dash out and approach the seal array in the square. They looked at the seal array cautiously. Everything seemed a little abnormal. There's no movement at all. Although the demon king Du Xiaofu is ferocious, he won't be able to withstand a single blow from our Hahuan school. An old man who looked to be in his 50s sneered complacently. The demon king Du Xiaofu, who was the strongest among the younger generation in Kyushu and dared to kill the descendant of the true dragon, had fallen in the Hahuan school. If this news were to spread, it would definitely make the Hahuan school's reputation rise greatly. Just as the old man finished speaking, a dazzling golden rune suddenly shot out from the seal array in front of him. The golden rune was very strange. It seemed to be disintegrating the seal array. To be precise, the golden light turned into a golden lightning bolt that shot out of the seal array. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a huge phantom of a five-fingered mountain. The phantom of the five-fingered mountain pressed down from the sky and landed on the old man in his 50s. The golden five-fingered mountain was too fast, and it was also unexpected. The terrifying aura froze the void as if it was the beginning of the world. The earth trembled, and the old man in his 50s had no time to dodge. Boom! The golden five-fingered mountain peak pressed down, and the ground of the square seemed to have collapsed. Large cracks appeared on the ground, and many of the surrounding experts retreated in shock, quickly evading. The phantom of the five-fingered mountain retracted, and a golden figure stepped out like a demon god. He was wrapped in golden light, and a pair of golden wings spread out from his back. The golden light in his eyes was like the sun. It was intimidating. This demon king-like figure was none other than Du Xiaofu, who had just been trapped in the seal array. As for the old man in his 50s, he was only left with a pool of blood on the messy square. He couldn't be more dead. Do you think you can trap me with a seal array? Du Xiaofu's roar was like thunder, and it shook the void and produced thunderous sounds. His voice was domineering and intimidating, and it made people's hearts tremble. It was like a drum being hammered, and it made people's hearts tremble. Why did the demon king come out? The beast-trapping star suppressing array wasn't broken. Why did the demon king come out? Quick, join forces and attack together to kill the demon king. In an instant, many martial honored realm experts of the Hahuan school wanted to join forces to attack Du Xiaofu. Now that the demon king had come to kill them, they couldn't let him do as he pleased. Kill! Du Xiaofu let out a loud roar that shook the entire square. The golden rock wings on his back spread out and swept across the sky. Golden light burst out, and a patch of golden light talisman inscriptions swept out like a storm. The two martial honored realm, Huan, sect cultivators were swept up into the sky, and one of them exploded in midair. Everything happened too fast, faster than lightning. Du Xiaofu stretched out his hand and imprisoned the other person in the air. No help? The martial honored realm expert of the Huan school was imprisoned by Du Xiaofu. His face changed, and he was terrified, but he couldn't break free. How dare you! At the same time, the 6 martial honored realm experts had joined forces to attack Du Xiaofu. 2 of them were extraordinary martial honored realm experts, and they were about to land on Du Xiaofu. Qila! The golden rock wings on Du Xiaofu's back flapped, and a claw print imprisoned the martial honored realm expert. Du Xiaofu sneered and plunged into the trapping beast star suppression array. Qila! The moment he entered the trapping beast star suppression array, Du Xiaofu sneered. He squeezed the claw print in his hand, and the martial honored realm expert turned into a bloody mist. The martial honored realm expert was killed instantly, and Du Xiaofu's figure disappeared into the array. Rumble! The joint attack of the martial honored realm experts hit the array, and there was a terrifying impact. The array trembled and the runes exploded, but the array didn't shake at all. Qila! In the next moment, the golden light in the charm array exploded and the 5-finger mountain shadow rushed out again, accompanied by a terrifying aura that was enough to make a martial honorable realm cultivator's meridian soul tremble. It pressed down from above and directly crushed a Nirvana realm martial honorable realm cultivator of the Huan sect. Qila! The golden rock wings on his back flapped, and his speed was faster than lightning. Du Xiaofu avoided the obstruction of the 2 martial honored realm experts, and he threw a punch at the complete martial honored realm middle-aged man closest to him. He had to attack the weaker ones first, so that he could kill them in one blow. Bastard! On the high platform, an old man with long yellow hair could no longer hold it in. His eyes were gloomy, and his voice was like thunder, causing the surrounding to tremble. Chi! In the next moment, the old man with long yellow hair appeared above the square like a ghost. He took a big step forward, and his eyes shone brightly. In the blink of an eye, the old man's palm was filled with bright yellow lightning. It lit up the sky, and a yellow lightning swept towards Du Xiaofu. Boom! Du Xiaofu's punch hit the complete martial honored realm middle-aged man's fist. When the 2 fists collided, the middle-aged man's body flew backward, and his body exploded in midair. Qila! Du Xiaofu didn't slow down at all. Just as the yellow thunderbolt was about to strike him, Du Xiaofu had already figured it out. He flapped his golden rock wings and flew towards the talisman array that was set up in the square. Rumble! When the yellow thunderbolt arrived, Du Xiaofu's figure once again disappeared into the talisman array. Bang, bang, bang! The bright yellow lightning exploded, and the entire star beast suppressing array shook. Lightning runes exploded, but it was still unable to destroy the charm array. The star beast suppressing array was originally set up by the Huan school to suppress Du Xiaofu. However, at this moment, it seemed to have become Du Xiaofu's trump card. Remove the charm array. Remove this charm array immediately. The old man with long yellow hair was furious, and his voice was like thunder. In the depths of the sky behind him, yellow lightning flashed and covered the sky as if he was a deity. Chapter 1178. Withdraw the formation. As soon as the yellow-haired old man finished speaking, a loud shout rang out from the surroundings. Then the beast trapping star suppressing formation dissipated amidst rumbling sounds. Bang! Just as the symbol array dissipated, a golden light shot out like a bolt of lightning. In the opposite direction of the yellow-haired old man, a mysterious martial honorable exploded. A golden figure appeared soon after. The resplendent light became more and more dazzling as the wings on his back flapped. It was Du Xiaofu. That mysterious martial saint thought that he was far away and would not be in any danger. At this moment, he did not even know how he died. The numerous Acacia faction exalts besieged Du Xiaofu. Any one of these exalts was an overlord, but in the blink of an eye, several of them had been slain. The hearts of the surrounding Hahuan school disciples sped up as they stared at the golden-winged figure. "Back down! Everyone back down! Leave this bastard to me!" The yellow-haired old man's roar was like thunder, shaking the hearts of many people present. Their bodies trembled and their legs went soft. Another elder was killed right under his nose. The yellow-haired old man flew into a rage and strode towards Du Xiaofu. The old man's yellow hair fluttered in the wind. His eyes shone with yellow lightning that seemed to be able to illuminate the entire square. Behind him, the yellow lightning that filled the sky shuttled back and forth, making him look like a thunder god. Du Xiaofu hovered in the air, looking at the yellow-haired old man. His eyes trembled slightly as he muttered, "Cultivator of the Thunder Upanishad!" Rumble, the old man with shoulder-length yellow hair, appeared 300 meters away from Du Xiaofu. The power of thunder and lightning spread out from his body, covering the entire square. Sizzling sounds of thunder and lightning were heard, shattering large areas of the ground. "Brat, you won't be able to leave my Hahuan school even if you grow wings today. You have to pay the price for killing an elder of my Hahuan school." The old man with shoulder-length yellow hair stared fixedly at Du Xiaofu with eyes that rippled with earthen yellow lightning. Dense killing intent filled the sky as he said, "Listen well, I am Earth Lezuin. Today you will die at my hands." Du Xiaofu raised his head slightly and looked at Lezuin, who was approaching with a domineering aura. A smile surfaced on his resolute and determined face. However, there was a hint of malevolence in his smile. His wings glowed with golden talisman runes and soared into the sky. Suddenly, Du Xiaofu flapped his wings and soared into the sky. Golden light shot out from his eyes as he stared at Lezuin on the ground. His voice was bone-chilling as it resounded throughout the Hahuan school. "You're not qualified to take my life even if you're a Hunyuan Marshal Venerable." Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, a terrifying aura of a consummate Marshal Venerable swept out from Du Xiaofu's body. The golden wings on his back overflowed with light and filled the air. It was as if a real rock had spread its wings and soared into the sky. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was like a real golden-winged rock descending. He carried the domineering will of the golden-winged rock clan. Roar! What a terrifying aura! Demon King, is Du Xiaofu a human or a supreme demon beast? As the aura of the golden-winged rock spread out from Du Xiaofu's body, the entire Hahuan school's demonic beasts roared and hissed. Everyone's meridians and souls trembled. That terrifying aura was that of a supreme demon beast. "So you're only a consummate Marshal Venerable. I have to admit that you have some strength. Unfortunately, you're going to die today." Lezuin's face was ashen. His entire body was wrapped in yellow lightning. He cultivated the domineering lightning mystery, and his strength could be said to be invincible among those of the same level. His figure shot out explosively. Surging and vigorous Xian Qi accompanied the lightning and turned into a lightning palm print. Boom! It covered a distance of 100 feet in an instant. It covered the sky and covered the earth as it enveloped Du Xiaofu. There's Taiji in Yi. It gives birth to Yin and Yang. Yin and Yang give birth to the 4 divisions. The 4 divisions gather in Xian and Huang, stabilizing the 8 directions and suppressing the common people. Facing the terrifying lightning palm print, Du Xiaofu did not retreat. As he muttered, his hands formed a seal with lightning speed. The Xian Qi in his body was like a torrential flood. It condensed along the hand seal and instantly condensed into a hand seal. The hand seal shone brilliantly. It was like a resplendent golden color. A powerful energy pressure spread out from it, causing the space to tremble violently. The resplendent golden hand seal caused countless gazes to look at it. They could not help but be frightened, and their souls trembled. Xiaoyang seal. Everything was as fast as lightning. Du Xiaofu's hand seal swung out to meet the attack head-on. In a flash, It violently collided with Lei Zuin's lightning palm print. In an instant, an earth-shattering sound suddenly resounded in the void. Boom! Two frightening hand seals collided. Terrifying rune energy ripples swept out like stormy waves, brightly illuminating the sky. At the center of the energy storm, the surrounding space seemed to have collapsed, creating a huge, pitch-black hole. It seemed that the two of them were evenly matched in this attack. Earth Lightning Pagoda, suppress! In an instant, Lei Zuin's figure flashed across the sky like a ghost. He traversed the space amidst the energy storm. The lightning runes turned into a lightning mountain peak and smashed down from the sky with the intention of suppressing Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu flapped his wings and raised his head. A domineering aura that caused one's heart to turn cold gushed out from his face. It felt as if the golden wings of a real rock had descended. Qi La. Facing the lightning mountain peak, Du Xiaofu stretched out a claw from his hand. Golden light erupted and dazzling runes wreaked havoc like golden lightning. It was as if a golden-winged rock was about to spread its wings and soar into the 9 heavens. Such a domineering and frightening aura shouldn't appear in a human. It could only exist in the bodies of demonic beast sovereigns. Under this golden claw, the surrounding Huan school disciples all felt their souls tremble. It was as if they were facing a king sovereign. Qi La La. Golden light erupted from the terrifying claw. It was as if countless golden lightning snakes were sweeping out. The space along the way was instantly distorted. It was as if an invisible hand was about to crush the space at any time. In an instant, the golden claw ruthlessly grabbed the lightning mountain peak in an incomparably domineering manner. Great rock chaos, shattering claw, break. A deep voice rang out from Du Xiaofu's mouth like a rock's cry. The claw fell on the lightning mountain peak and devoured it. The space was distorted to the extreme. It actually squeezed the lightning mountain peak until it was distorted. Brat, this sovereign has comprehended lightning. It's not something you can break. The great earth thunder reverend sneered loudly. His hair danced wildly. The lightning mountain that he had condensed was distorted by the claw, but it did not really crack. Subsequently, the surrounding frightening bright yellow thunderbolts charged towards Du Xiaofu with destructive power. Comprehending lightning, huh? Du Xiaofu sneered. Suddenly, purple lightning gushed out from his palm. The purple lightning within the claw turned into a frightening lightning vortex. It directly devoured Lei Zuin's dazzling yellow lightning. Lei Zuin's expression changed. Subsequently, the lightning mountain peak he condensed was directly crushed by the purple gold claw. Monstrous, profound energy poured out along with the dazzling lightning. Is this all that the chaotic element martial sovereign has? In the sky, Du Xiaofu crushed the lightning mountain peak. Golden light flickered in his eyes along with the lightning. Mysterious talisman runes burst out. He flapped his wings, and a monstrous golden light burst out. He began his fierce counterattack. Profound soul, I. Rock descends to the 9 heavens. Sky-shaking wings. Sumeru illusion. Du Xiaofu erupted, with his surging profound energy as the support. Numerous attacks practically instantly condensed in his hand, and it was even mixed with obvious attacks in the Tao of Talismans, causing everyone to be dumbstruck and flabbergasted. This was something that was practically impossible for an ordinary person to accomplish. The Devil King's body seemed to have an endless amount of profound energy that could be squandered by him. Roar hand seals condensed. Du Xiaofu urged the green-headed dragon, profound cloud scarlet dragon, howling sky demon tiger, and other beasts to roar and shake the mountains and rivers. They surged and covered Lei Zuin. Qi La La. Du Xiaofu's hand seals condensed again. Mysterious talisman runes flickered and erupted. A huge grass-shaped object condensed in front of Du Xiaofu. It was a stalk of grass. Its entire body was crystal clear, and the shape of the grass was like a mushroom. Waves after waves of terrifying pressure descended upon them. With the appearance of this stalk of grass, everyone in the square trembled again. The profound energy in everyone's body was also absolutely suppressed at this moment. They even felt that their vitality was being sucked out. As the stalk of grass condensed, Du Xiaofu's golden eyes were still erupting with coldness. He waved his hand, and the mysterious talisman runes condensed again. The second stalk of grass flew out. This stalk of grass had slender spiritual leaves. The mysterious talisman runes flickered. Its aura spread, making the depths of one's soul feel relaxed and happy. This stalk of grass was not inferior to the first stalk of grass. It was rarely seen in the world. This stalk of grass could purify the spirit platform and suppress all evil. Chi-la, the two stalks of grass, along with the mysterious talisman runes, turned into two beams of light and directly wrapped around Leizuin. Heavens, the first stalk of grass is the grass of immortality. What is the second stalk of grass? It can't be inferior to the grass of immortality. It's rarely seen in the world. How is this possible? This demon king, Du Xiaofu, how can he activate so many attacks? Could it be that he has 10 divine gates in his body that contain profound energy? Those are all great divine abilities. A single person comprehending so many divine abilities. This Du Xiaofu is too inconceivable. Following Du Xiaofu's crazy attack, it caused the surrounding high platforms to scream in shock. Who could activate such crazy attacks like this? It was simply an indiscriminate bombardment. Chapter 1179. At this moment, being bombarded by Du Xiaofu's indiscriminate attacks, Earth Leizuin was enveloped by beast energy, suppressed by the attacks and entangled by the grass of immortality and dark seeker grass. He was in a sorry state. Break! Earth Leizuin's roar was like thunder. Light overflowed, and terrifying lightning power erupted. Monstrous lightning spread out from his body and swept in all directions, colliding with Du Xiaofu's indiscriminate attacks. After all, a chaotic element martial venerable was a chaotic element martial venerable. He was a top expert in this world. The lightning ultimacy that the great earth reverend cultivated was also very powerful. Rumble! Under the impact of the terrifying lightning, Earth Leizuin's aura erupted. The dazzling yellow lightning on his body destroyed the void as if it was going to destroy heaven and earth. It destroyed all the attacks and disintegrated them in midair. Whoosh! Golden light erupted. Du Xiaofu's figure soared into the sky and suddenly released dazzling starlight. Within the golden light, a mystical aura spread out from Du Xiaofu's body. Mysterious runes of light surged and shrouded him. The multicolored light around his body was like stars rotating and fluctuating. There was a kind of extraordinary holiness in the domineering aura that made people's minds ripple when they looked at him from afar. In the next moment, Du Xiaofu's hand had already shot out. Mysterious runes of talismans gushed out from the hand. The hand was suffused with starlight and could devour light. It was as if the space above the square had suddenly fallen into the night. The pressure was unparalleled and suppressed the vast sky. The hand distorted the space like the stars in the night sky releasing their light. It carried a vast aura that covered the sky and the earth and directly suppressed Earth Leizuin. Earth Leizuin had just destroyed the indiscriminate attacks in the sky. He raised his head and saw the terrifying hand pressing down. The violent power affected the space and devoured light. It was as if the starry sky had descended and almost penetrated the space, causing the ground below to crack continuously. Humph! Earth Leizuin snorted. His gloomy eyes shot out dazzling yellow lightning like lightning. The mysterious runes of the lightning talisman blossomed and turned into the shadow of a lightning dragon. Aho! The lightning dragon phantasm streaked across the sky. In a flash, it violently collided with Du Xiaofu's star palm. Rumble! Such a collision! An astonishing collision of energy, the thunderous sound of energy, resounded through the sky. The two terrifying attacks collided, and suddenly a terrifying energy ripple swept out like a stormy sea. Lightning exploded, starlight rippled, as if it was about to be destroyed. When everyone in the square looked at the sky above the square that had exploded, they could not help but gasp. For ordinary Hahuan school students, a battle between experts of this level was something they would never see in their lifetime. Deng deng! In midair, the two figures staggered back at the same time. Leizuin's figure staggered back a dozen steps, traversing hundreds of feet before stabilizing his body. The golden-winged, great Peng behind Du Xiaofu wrapped around his body, forcing him to retreat 100 feet before he could stabilize himself. Chi La! Du Xiaofu flapped his wings and revealed his true body. His face was slightly pale, and his aura was slightly inferior. A true chaotic element martial honorable was absolutely terrifying, compared to the old woman from the Fei family and Xiang Huangshan. Leizuin was much more tyrannical, although there was only a small gap between a peak transcendent martial honorable and a chaotic element martial honorable. The two were on two completely different levels, as expected of the Demon King. At such a young age, he was actually able to fight with elder Leizuin to such an extent. The fourth-year young disciple exclaimed in shock. The young Demon King's name was well-deserved. What a powerful kid! No wonder he was able to kill the descendant of the true dragon. Some of the Hahuan school's experts on the high platform side. At this moment, none of them dared to underestimate the young man. The Demon King Du Xiaofu was able to fight with Elder Leizuin to a standstill at such a young age. The indiscriminate bombardment from before also left people with lingering fear. If this continued for a period of time, just how terrifying would the Demon King become? Su Muxin looked at the tyrannical young man in the air and stood there quietly. Kid, you have many tricks up your sleeve. Unfortunately, in front of absolute strength, everything is fleeting clouds. Leizuin took a deep breath. He was surrounded by resplendent yellow lightning. He knew that the Demon King's name was not in vain. He needed to use his true strength to deal with him. That depends on whether you are strong enough or not. Du Xiaofu flapped his wings, and the corners of his mouth slowly curled into a sneer. Golden light swept out like a storm and enveloped the golden light, revealing an unconcealable domineering and intimidating aura. Just like a real demon king, Leizuin looked gloomy. He looked at the young man in front of him, and the yellow lightning in his eyes became more and more resplendent. In the entire Shang Prefecture, Leizuin had a good reputation. He had never been looked down upon like this by a junior. It's time to end this, Leizuin said. His old face revealed a cold intent. In the next moment, majestic Xian Qi swept out from within Leizuin's body. Resplendent lightning filled the sky and whistled out. The aura of a chaotic element martial saint surged out without restraint. In a short moment, Leizuin's body was covered in lightning talisman patterns. Finally, they condensed into a huge, resplendent yellow lightning ball in the air. Crackle! This lightning ball was resplendent yellow. The talisman patterns shuttled back and forth in the yellow lightning clouds in the sky along with the yellow lightning arcs. It gave off a demonic feeling. However, amidst the demonic feeling of the lightning ball, there was also a destructive pressure descending from the sky. Under that destructive pressure, the energy of heaven and earth in the entire Hahuan school seemed to be in chaos. Gasps could be heard one after another. Everyone was shocked. The human emperor Marshal Vane has fused with the profound of thunder and lightning. This guy has actually reached this step. Du Xiaofu looked at the terrifying yellow lightning ball. It was like a lightning star falling from the Milky Way. The terrifying pressure made people tremble in fear and their scalps tingle. That terrifying power made Du Xiaofu gasp in amazement. A chaotic element martial saint was indeed a chaotic element martial saint. Even if he used all his strength and used all his means, it would be difficult for him to deal with a chaotic element martial saint. Lei Zuin was an expert at the same level as his master, Gu Qingyang. What shocked Du Xiaofu the most was that Earth Lei Zuin had clearly fused his martial vein and the profound of thunder and lightning together to form an even more terrifying power. The lightning ball hovered high in the sky, causing lightning to flash and thunder to rumble. It was as if doomsday had arrived. Earth Lei Zuin's eyes were filled with killing intent. He raised his hand and shook it, pointing directly at Du Xiaofu. A voice filled with killing intent, accompanied by a domineering lightning, resounded through the sky. Lightning of the great earth, destroy! As the cold shout fell, the terrifying lightning ball, accompanied by a resplendent yellow lightning glow, swept out with a destructive force. Rumble! Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled wherever the lightning ball passed. It was like a falling star, ruthlessly descending towards Du Xiaofu. Crack, 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 crack! As the lightning ball descended, the ground of the entire Summer Sky Plaza exploded one after another. It was as if a bomb had exploded, and the ground exploded with Du Xiaofu as the center. Elder Lei Zuin has already used all his strength. Can the Demon King still resist? The Demon King, Du Xiaofu, with the cultivation of a perfect martial saint, can't resist Elder Lei Guang's chaotic element martial saint, right? On the high platform, the experts of the Hahuan school watched nervously, not daring to blink. As for those with lower strength, under the resplendent lightning, they couldn't even look straight at it. The terrifying lightning ball collapsed, causing the heavens to collapse and the earth to crack. Golden Light's eyes began to glow with purple lightning. Du Xiaofu's hand seals condensed, and his entire body was covered with a kind of purple lightning talisman rune. Suddenly, with Du Xiaofu's body as the center, waves of purple lightning surged out from the void and instantly covered the entire sky. Boom! The purple lightning gathered, instantly causing the entire Summer Sky Plaza to tremble violently, causing the resplendent yellow lightning to be slightly diluted. Rumble! Du Xiaofu activated his thunder martial vein, and Lei Zuin used all his strength to activate his martial vein. He had no choice but to use all his strength. The purple lightning immediately spread, and destructive lightning fell from all directions. Lightning swept across the sky like a rainstorm. Purple-silver snakes flashed in the void, and the aura was vast. A wave of punishing aura spread. It didn't carry any killing intent, but it showed the majesty of creation and the righteousness of heaven and earth. This lightning was different from Lei Zuin's yellow lightning. This purple lightning was strong and young, and it could sweep across the heavens and punish the common people. In comparison, the yellow lightning trembled as if it had met the Thunder Sovereign, as if it was about to crawl. What kind of martial vein is that? What a terrifying lightning power! As Du Xiaofu activated his thunder martial vein, the faces of the surrounding Hahuan school's experts changed, and their eyes were filled with shock. They could all feel the terror of the Demon King's martial vein, and the power of lightning was obviously much stronger than Lei Zuin's thunder profound meaning. If the two of them were at the same level, Lei Zuin's thunder profound meaning wouldn't be able to withstand a single blow. How dare you play with lightning in front of me? Withdraw! Du Xiaofu shouted tyrannically, and the purple lightning in his eyes seemed to materialize as it rushed out. Just as the 100-meter-long ball of lightning was about to collapse, Du Xiaofu suddenly opened his mouth, and a huge devouring force gushed out, bringing with it a purple lightning that swept across the sky. In the next instant, a horrifying scene appeared under the countless shocked gazes of the crowd. The lightning ball activated by Lei Zuin was about to descend on Du Xiaofu's head, but strangely it was directly devoured by Du Xiaofu. The lightning ball, which was powerful enough to destroy heaven and earth, didn't seem to cause any harm to Du Xiaofu at this moment. It even seemed to submit to Du Xiaofu as if it was facing a supreme being, and was directly swallowed into his stomach. How is this possible? Everyone was shocked. The scene in front of them was unbelievable. and even if they saw it with their own eyes, it was still unbelievable. Chapter 1180. Leisuin's eyes were filled with disbelief. His all-out attack had actually been so easily blocked by the Demon King Du Xiaofu. Furthermore, the Demon King Du Xiaofu was even able to devour his lightning profound energy. His opponent's lightning pressure made his heart tremble. Crackle! Leisuin clenched his teeth and waved his hand rapidly. Within his hand seal, a gigantic 100-foot-tall giant bear phantom appeared. Roar! The 100-foot-tall giant bear was wrapped in lightning. It was like a yellow cloud that covered the sky, accompanied by a terrifying ocean-like aura that rolled out in all directions. The giant lightning bear phantom's eyes were ferocious. Its huge body was overflowing with a terrifying aura as it swept down towards Du Xiaofu like a meteor. Ancient thunder-devouring bear. Du Xiaofu raised his eyes. His body was covered with electric arcs, and lightning surged in his eyes. They were like two suns that illuminated the vast sky, overlooking the earth. The overbearing aura in his body was like a volcano that suddenly burst out from his body. In the next moment, Du Xiaofu swept his sleeve horizontally, and the golden wings on his back flapped. Instantly, an expanse of golden talisman markings surged out from his body like a golden ocean, and countless bolts of lightning shot into the sky. Finally, under the shocked gazes of the surrounding people, the lightning and golden light condensed into a purple-gold lightning giant rock. The giant purple-gold rock phantom hovered high up in the sky, covering half of the sky. Its mighty and overbearing aura was suffused with a domineering aura of destruction, causing the people in all directions to feel weak in the knees. Coo! The purple-gold, lightning giant rock screeched. Its voice seemed to pierce through the sky, and the sound waves distorted the space. The purple-gold, lightning large pung flapped its wings and rose into the air. The large pung swung its claws, and a dense purple-gold, lightning arc rapidly distorted. Finally, it transformed into a purple-gold, lightning claw that was dozens of feet large. The lightning claw print pierced through the space barrier from high up in the sky and heavily landed on the giant bear phantom that was pouncing over. As the terrifying purple-golden claw landed, the overbearing and intimidating Supreme Being aura directly crushed the giant bear's shadow. At this moment, purplish-gold lightning bolts wreaked havoc in the sky. The lightning bolts were boundless, and it was as if there was a purplish-gold sun in the sky. Chi-la-la! The claw mark tore through the giant bear's shadow and destroyed it. At the same time, Du Xiaofu opened his mouth and swallowed the lightning ball into his body. PFFF! Leisuin spat out a mouthful of blood, and his eyes were filled with shock and astonishment. At the same time, Du Xiaofu's figure appeared above the rock's head. His figure soared into the sky with his head held high. His eyes were like rolling thunder, and his body was covered with electric arcs. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was connected to the violet gold rock, and an incomparably vast aura suddenly spread out like the tide. He also pounced towards Leisuin, and the violet gold rock beneath his feet pounced towards Leisuin. Not good! Leisuin was truly shocked for the first time. The last of his majestic, profound chi surged, and a resplendent yellow lightning wrapped around his fist. The lightning spread out, and this was his last full-force attack, filled with anger and fear. A fist against the violet gold rock. Boom! The two collided, and surging profound chi fluctuations crazily spread out from the point of collision. It actually shattered the violet gold rock, and the monstrous energy ripples caused the sky to tremble. Overbearing soared away. At this moment, an indifferent and domineering shout rang out, and a purplish gold sword light that seemed to have been prepared long ago swept out. This sword strike was as if it could split a mountain. There was nothing fancy about it, and it was just a simple slash. However, as this sword swept through the sky, the space where the sword light passed almost collapsed, revealing traces of a vacuum. A domineering energy pressure that caused one to tremble violently emanated from the purple-gold sword glow, causing the entire space to tremble violently. A terrifying sword intent also swept through the clouds. That domineering sword aura caused one's hair to stand on end. Leisuin didn't have time to dodge at all. He quickly retreated and activated his defense with all his might. Swish, however, all of this was still half a step too late. As the sword light descended, Leisuin avoided his vital points, but the sword light directly struck his left shoulder. There was no loud sound of energy, only the terrifying sword light turned into strength chi rune ripples. It was like a tsunami that suddenly swept out in the surrounding space, transforming into countless sword lights that flew away. After that, everything slowly calmed down, but Leisuin let out a miserable scream. Leisuin's left arm was cut off at the shoulder. Fresh blood dripped down as he screamed miserably. In the air, Du Xiaofu flapped his wings and soared into the sky, and the violet gold heavenly fault appeared in his hand. The violet gold heavenly fault was like a tiger bone and a dragon bone, like a phoenix facing the sun, like a divine turtle entrenched in the sky. The aura of the peerless divine weapon wreaked havoc in the sky. Taking advantage of his weakness to kill him, Du Xiaofu didn't stop at all and attacked again. Golden light burst out from his eyes as he slashed out again. Swish! When this sword slashed out, the sword light connected with heaven and earth. Its aura was as vast as the sea, turning into waves of sword light that swept forward. This wasn't a wave, but a wave formed by the interweaving of terrifying sword light that carried the sword intent of the domineering sword path. A vast expanse of golden sword light covered the sky, drowning everything. Elder Lei, you can leave now. On the high platform, Su Muxin finally spoke. There was shock in Chao Lu's eyes, but she didn't seem to be too surprised. The corners of her mouth curled up slightly, and she said softly, "Senior sister, I'll have to trouble you again." Just as Su Muxin's voice fell, a beautiful figure quietly appeared in the sky above the square, and a charming laughter spread out. "Hee, the rumored Demon King Du Xiaofu is really extraordinary. No wonder you're the #1 person among the younger generation of Kyushu." With the appearance of this person, the energy of heaven and earth above the square was also affected. Her figure seemed to be able to cross space, and she instantly appeared in front of Leisuin. This was an extremely beautiful woman. She looked like she was in her 30s, but she looked extremely young. She wore a white dress, and her face was lightly powdered. Her eyebrows and the corners of her eyes were full of lust. The appearance of this person immediately attracted Du Xiaofu's attention. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's sword light seemed to have stopped. With that kind of strength, even if she hadn't reached the level of a half-domain, she wasn't far from it. Nirvana Martial Venerable. Du Xiaofu felt the strength of this person. She wasn't far from his 7th martial uncle, Venerable Qianxing. She was definitely a Nirvana Martial Venerable. The beautiful woman looked at Du Xiaofu, and her watery eyes seemed to drip water. She seemed to be smiling, and it was enough to move the hearts of all men. She muttered softly, "What a domineering sword essence and an extraordinary divine weapon. It seems to be the wings of the golden-winged roc. I'm so envious." As her voice fell, the beautiful woman waved her hand. Her long sleeves shook, and the energy of heaven and earth gathered at an astonishing speed. In an instant, it turned into a resplendent rune light screen, and it directly blocked the sword light that was about to fall. Crash! The two collided, and Du Xiaofu's monstrous sword light actually fell apart after a short stalemate. It turned into broken sword light and dissipated. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. Almost at the same time, the beautiful woman's moving figures split into 9. The 9 figures were exactly the same, and they formed a circle around Du Xiaofu. 9 pairs of watery eyes intentionally or unintentionally released a spring light. At the same time, the 9 rune energy ribbons were like lightning. They carried a resplendent light and a violent force, and they landed on Du Xiaofu, who couldn't dodge in time. Bang, bang, bang! 9 low-energy muffled sounds were heard at the same time. Du Xiaofu's body suddenly trembled, and the surrounding space was also shattered. However, his body in the center didn't move at all. Ugh! A mouthful of pale golden blood was spat out from Du Xiaofu's mouth. His face instantly turned pale, and a faint resplendent yellow lightning overflowed from his body. His appearance was somewhat ferocious. I don't know how you were able to absorb Elder Leizuan's lightning mystery energy, but with your cultivation as a perfect martial saint, absorbing Elder Leizuan's lightning mystery energy wouldn't have any side effects. You must have suffered a backlash now. The beautiful woman spoke and smiled at Du Xiaofu. Her smile was full of smiles, and it was as if she was talking to an old friend at this moment. However, at this moment, everyone could feel that there was a truly terrifying aura within her beautiful body that couldn't be concealed. With a raise of her hand, she could tear the sky and space apart. Chapter 1181. Uft! As soon as the beautiful woman finished speaking, another mouthful of pale golden blood flowed out of Du Xiaofu's mouth. The beautiful woman was right. Du Xiaofu was feeling terrible right now. Although Du Xiaofu's lightning veins could devour the power of lightning and even strengthen his own lightning veins, however, that Earth Leizuan's chaotic element martial honorable's lightning veins had been devoured by Du Xiaofu. If it weren't for Du Xiaofu's freakish physical body, that enormous amount of energy would have killed him. What Du Xiaofu needed now was time to consume that yellow lightning for his own use. The yellow lightning within his body was overflowing, and his qi and blood were surging. Just now he had been affected by the beautiful woman and almost exploded. As the faint golden blood flowed out, Du Xiaofu looked around the square. His resolute and determined face was pale, but his eyes were still domineering and intimidating, so much so that it made one's hair stand on end. The tens of thousands of Hehuan School disciples looked at him. None of them dared to underestimate that tall youth. Such a savage demon king was able to kill several martial honorables under the joint attack of the many powerhouses of the Hehuan sect. Even Earth Leizuan, who was at the level of the chaotic element martial honorable, had an arm chopped off. Among the younger generation of the 9 prefectures, who could achieve such a feat? Little brother, surrender. I can't bear to attack you youngsters. The beautiful woman looked at Du Xiaofu with a smile on her face. Surrender without putting up a fight? Those words don't exist in my dictionary. Du Xiaofu opened his mouth and looked around the square. A strange light flashed in his eyes. He took a deep breath, and his expression suddenly relaxed. His pale face smiled faintly at the beautiful woman. Then he looked at Su Muxin in the center of the square and said, "Su Muxin, how about we make a deal?" Hearing that, Su Muxin raised her eyes slightly and looked at Du Xiaofu. For some reason, the depths of her heart inexplicably trembled. "Little brother, you killed so many Hehuan school disciples. Even more than 10 of our Hehuan school's elders died at your hands. Do you think there's still a deal to be made?" Su Muxin didn't say anything. The beautiful woman continued to smile at Du Xiaofu as if she was talking about something normal. It was as if it had nothing to do with her, no matter how many experts the Hehuan school died. "Is that so?" Du Xiaofu's eyes moved slightly when he heard this. He said, "I wonder if the Hehuan school has a set of Qianyang dragon-subduing arts." Du Xiaofu knew that he was in deep danger, let alone Su Muxin. Even the beautiful woman in front of him was difficult to deal with. Moreover, there were many hidden experts in the Hehuan school. Even now, Du Xiaofu could sense that there were many hidden auras spying on him. Any one of them was an extremely powerful existence. Although Du Xiaofu was determined to fight, he didn't intend to throw his life away. As long as there was a possibility, Du Xiaofu would leave without hesitation, even if he didn't take Ji Jian with him. In other words, Du Xiaofu knew very well that if he really died, he wouldn't be able to save Ji Jian. At least for now, it seemed that although Jijian was restricted, she was at least safe. The one who wasn't safe was him. The Qianyang dragon-subduing arts was a peak earth level cultivation method. It was the peak dual cultivation method in the Hahuan school. Du Xiaofu couldn't be sure whether the ancient heaven sect had a heaven level cultivation method or not. He also didn't ask his master, Gu Qingyang, or his senior brother, Sima Taxing. However, Du Xiaofu knew that a peak earth level cultivation method was equivalent to a sect treasure even in the ancient heaven sect. Du Xiaofu wasn't a fool to have obtained the Qianyang dragon-subduing arts in the Mount of Clouds and Rain. No matter how much the Hahuan school trained its disciples, it wouldn't put a peak earth level cultivation method in there. Moreover, it was hidden so deeply that ordinary people wouldn't be able to find anything unusual even if they saw it. The restrictions in the Mount of Clouds and Rain weren't strong. If news of a peak earth level cultivation method leaked out, it would attract experts above Kyushu. The Hahuan school definitely wouldn't be so generous. As a result, Du Xiaofu guessed that there was definitely something wrong with the peak earth tier cultivation method, the Qianyang dragon subduing method, being placed in the cloudy rain mountains and hidden so deeply. Perhaps even the people of the Hahuan sect did not know about it. Du Xiaofu's guess was right. The moment Du Xiaofu finished speaking, the disciples in the surrounding square didn't feel anything. However, the eyes of some of the old men on the high platform suddenly trembled violently. In the sky above the square, Du Xiaofu could sense some hidden auras that were peeking over and violently fluctuated. Su Muxin's dewy eyes also flickered with a strange light at this moment. Just as she had guessed, the Qianyang dragon-subduing arts had appeared. Moreover, it was certain that the Demon King had obtained it. The Qianyang dragon-subduing arts. The beautiful woman's eyes also trembled violently. Her face that had always been full of smiles was now filled with astonishment. She then turned to look at Su Muxin on the high platform. It seems like there really is something going on. Du Xiaofu looked at the gazes around him and saw the fluctuations of the hidden auras in the air. Immediately, a hint of a smile flashed through his eyes. What kind of deal do you want to make? Su Muxin looked at Du Xiaofu and slightly raised her head. Her hair was tied up high, and her long hair flowed down her back like flowing water. Her voice also revealed a kind of gentle charm that was enough to make any woman infatuated. Listening to Su Muxin's words, Du Xiaofu was even more certain of his guess. A slight smile appeared on his pale face. Du Xiaofu pointed at Ji Jian, who was restrained, and said to Su Muxin indifferently, "Give her to me, and let me take her away. In the name of your Hahuan school, I guarantee that you will not cause trouble for the other families. When I am safe, I will give you the Qianyang dragon-subduing arts. First, give me the Qianyang dragon-subduing arts. After I confirm that the Qianyang dragon-subduing arts is real, I will agree to your conditions." Su Muxin nodded. "Do you think I will believe you? Let her go first, and then I will give you the Qianyang dragon-subduing arts." Du Xiaofu looked directly at Su Muxin. Naturally, he did not believe Su Muxin's words. "Do you think you are in a position to bargain? You have killed more than 100 of my Hahuan school's elders and disciples. If I let you go, how will my Hahuan school establish itself in Shangzhou? Hand over the Qianyang dragon-subduing arts, and I will leave your corpse intact. Otherwise, not even your bones will be left." An indifferent and cold voice sounded as Du Xiaofu's voice fell. In the distant sky above the square, for figures suddenly streaked across the sky and instantly appeared above the square. There were a total of 3 beautiful women and a man who looked to be in his 30s. The 3 beautiful women all looked to be in their late 20s. They were all extremely beautiful and had extraordinary charm, especially the beautiful woman in the lead. She wore a golden misty cloud gown embroidered with many rich peony patterns. Her long, cloud-shaped thousand-water skirt outlined a graceful curve, just like a young girl. This beautiful woman's face was as charming as the moon, and her eyes were charming and seductive. She was not inferior to the beautiful woman who attacked Du Xiaofu first. The man was also very handsome. His face was broad, and his eyes were as deep and vast as the stars. As these four people arrived, the square immediately froze and trembled. "Greetings, Junior Sect Master." The four people came forward and bowed slightly to Su Muxin in the air. Their eyes were shining, and there was not much respect in their eyes. "Greetings, Sect Master." On the high platform, many elders bowed to the seductive beautiful woman in the misty cloud gown. It was enough to show that the beautiful woman's position in Hahuan school was not low. "Elder Leizuan, are you all right?" The seductive beautiful woman then landed beside Earth Leizuan, who had lost an arm. She frowned slightly. "Sect Master, I'm fine. I just lost an arm to that little bastard." Earth Leizuan glanced at Du Xiaofu in the air. His face was gloomy, and there was a hint of lingering fear. "It's good that you're fine. I'll definitely mend your arm in the future." The seductive beautiful woman nodded slightly. Although it was difficult to recover an arm, there were legends in this world that said that there were talisman masters who could refine pills that could restore flesh and bones. There were also legends that said that there were heavenly treasures that could restore a person's arm. Although those were all legendary sacred medicines, with the Hahuan school's ability, if they went all out to search for them, the chances were not high, but there was still a chance. "I'm fine. It's just that we can't let that little bastard off for killing our Hahuan school's disciples. If the Qianyang dragon subduing art is really in that little bastard's hands, we'll definitely take revenge for the Manchu." Earth Leizuan glanced at Du Xiaofu in the air. His gaze was gloomy and cold. "I didn't expect Senior Sister Zhao to be here too." Su Muxin looked at the seductive woman, and there were some fluctuations in her eyes. "Today is the entrance ceremony. I was just about to take a look, but I didn't expect to encounter such a lively event. The birth of the Qianyang dragon subduing art is really a big event for our Hahuan school." The beautiful woman whom Su Muxin addressed as Senior Sister Zhao smiled at the former. Her eyebrows were beautiful, and her skin was as smooth as jade. She looked like a young girl. The neckline of her water skirt was very low, revealing her ample bosom. She was charming and seductive. "What a coincidence, Senior Sister Zhao." Su Muxin smiled at the former. That smile seemed to have a kind of beauty that didn't differentiate between genders. It had a soul-stirring charm. "It is indeed a coincidence. This Devil King killed many experts and disciples of my all-pleasure sect. This time he even caused a ruckus in my all-pleasure sect. If this matter were to spread out, it would be difficult for my all-pleasure sect to gain a foothold in the Shang province in the future. Let me, your senior sister, deal with this small matter. As the sect supervisor, this is also my duty. Junior brother, what do you think?" The beautiful woman smiled and said to Su Muxin, "Senior Sister Zhao Lu, this brat is already an arrow at the end of its flight. Just leave him to me. He doesn't have the qualifications to trouble Senior Sister Zhao Lu." The beautiful woman who first made a move against Du Xiaofu looked at Zhao Lu and said, her eyes flashed with a strange light, as if she didn't want the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, to fall into the former's hands. Why didn't Su Muxin personally take action? And why didn't the true experts of the Hahuan school join hands to besiege him? The other kind was why Su Muxin guessed that Fu Xiaodu was Du Xiaofu. This was too fake. Just by hearing the name Su Muxin, one could tell that it was a girl's name. Why couldn't our pig trotter tell that it was a girl's name? Originally, Xiao Yu really didn't know how to answer this kind of elementary school student's question. However, there were many enthusiastic readers, so Xiao Yu gave a simple explanation. First, our pig trotter was still a member of the younger generation. The experts of the Hahuan school and Su Muxin were at least well-known figures. They weren't hooligans or street thugs. At that level, face was very important. They also had their own pride and identity. How could they besiege him like a swarm of bees? It was just like a child with a little more strength going to a big family to cause trouble. How could the big family openly besiege the child? As for why Su Muxin guessed that Fu Xiaodu was Du Xiaofu, in the previous chapters, Su Muxin already knew that Fu Debai might be Du Xiaofu. Su Muxin deliberately lured him to the Hehuan school. How could Su Muxin not know? Su Muxin was the sovereign of the Hehuan school at such a young age. Naturally, she wouldn't have graduated from kindergarten. As for the name Su Muxin, it was obviously quite a neutral name. Moreover, as far as I'm concerned, I've seen a few names like Fong Fong and Yuan Yuan in my life. However, they were all 7 feet tall. Therefore, Xiao Yu didn't say much about the name. Xiao Yu won't explain similar questions in the future. Xiao Yu continued to work hard on writing. I wish everyone a happy reading. Lastly, can I exchange the Qianyang subduing dragon skill for a few fresh flowers? Hee, the Qianyang subduing dragon skill is guaranteed to benefit you endlessly in the future. Whoever uses it will know. Chapter 1182. Translator. H2DH2 Mr. Junior Sister Myling, you've worked hard. However, I don't know if this brat really has our Hehuan school's Qianyang dragon subduing art. I believe that Junior Sister Myling has no way of making that brat obediently hand it over, right? After Zhao Lu finished speaking to the beautiful woman, her gaze turned towards Du Xiaofu. Her eyes were even more enchanting than peach blossoms, tugging at one's heartstrings. Her black hair was tied up into a beautiful bun, but at this moment her face was dazzlingly gloomy under the sunlight. Her voice was cold as she said in a low voice, "Brat, hand over the Qianyang dragon-subduing art and end your own life. Otherwise, you'll be miserable." Du Xiaofu looked at Zhao Lu in front of him. Her aura was clearly stronger than that of the beautiful woman who had attacked him just now. The 2 women and 1 man behind her were probably not any weaker than that beautiful woman. They were definitely powerful experts. The Hehuan school's strength is above that of the 7-star hall. Du Xiaofu frowned slightly. From the looks of it, the Hehuan school's strength was stronger than the 7-star hall's. Although the 7-star hall had his master and 6 martial uncles, the Hehuan school definitely had hidden experts. Their overall strength was definitely stronger than the 7-star hall's. What if I say that you're dreaming? Du Xiaofu stared coldly at Zhao Lu. Although he was currently in a dangerous situation, if he really wanted to leave at all costs, it was not as if there was no hope at all. Allowing himself to be captured without putting up a fight was not in Du Xiaofu's character. Is that so? Do you think that you can still leave today? The Hehuan school is not a place where you can come and go as you please. Zhao Lu laughed coldly. Her seductive eyes landed on Du Xiaofu, but they were filled with coldness. She pointed at Ji Jian, who was restrained beside Su Muxin, and said, "You seem to be here for that little girl. Do you want to be a sentimental person? If you don't hand over the Qianyang dragon-subduing art and end your own life, I can guarantee that the first one to die will be that little girl. If you dare touch a single hair on her, I'll Hehuan school's art, the Hehuan school Zhao Lu's Du Xiaofu's. Qianyang dragon's art. Du Xiao's Lu's art. Hee, one day, what a good one. It's a pity that you don't even have it tomorrow." As Zhao Lu's voice faded, her figure had already strangely appeared on the high platform. She quietly stood beside the restrained Ji Jian. With a wave of her hand, a claw landed on Ji Jian's throat. She coldly stared at Du Xiaofu and said, "I'll give you 10 breaths of time. Do you want to hand over the Qianyang dragon-subduing art and end your own life? Or do you want to watch this little girl die in front of your eyes? You dare!" Du Xiaofu roared. The golden chill in his eyes seemed to materialize as it shot out. A scarlet color gushed out from his eyes. Using Ji Jian to threaten him was what Du Xiaofu was most worried about. "Do you think I won't dare?" Zhao Lu sneered, her claw drawing even closer to Ji Jian's throat. That sharp gust of wind had already left several bloody scars on Ji Jian's snow-white skin. Ji Jian's eyes were red as she stared intently at the tall youth in front of her. She wanted to tell him to leave, but she was unable to make a sound due to the restriction. Du Xiaofu clenched his fists tightly. His scarlet eyes stared intently at Zhao Lu as he said, "Let her go. In the name of the Hehuan school, I guarantee that they will not deal with the Ji family. I can stay, and I can also hand over the Qianyang dragon-subduing art to you. Otherwise, even if I have to risk my life, I will make the Hehuan school pay a heavy price. You don't have the right to bargain." Zhao Lu sneered. She had no intention of backing down. "Senior Sister Zhao, I ask Senior Sister Meiling to bring this little girl back. I feel that Senior Sister Zhao should first ask for my opinion before doing anything." At the same time, a ray of light as thin as a needle shot towards Ji Jian's neck and pierced towards Zhao Lu's claw. Chi! The thin ray of light pierced through space, causing Zhao Lu's expression to darken. Her delicate body immediately retreated slightly. Zhao Lu's claw relaxed and turned into a palm. A spatial vortex formed from runes gathered within it. A suction force swallowed out and directly grasped the thin ray of rune light in her palm. She then clenched her fist and destroyed it. Her expression could not help but darken. At this moment, Su Muxin had already appeared in front of Ji Jian. She flicked her dark purple sleeve and looked at Du Xiaofu in the air. "Surrender and hand over the Qianyang subduing dragon art. I will guarantee in the name of the Hehuan school that I will let this little girl leave and will never look for her again. Once the Qianyang subduing dragon art is verified, then I will decide how to deal with you. This is your only choice. You should be very clear that you cannot leave the Hehuan school today." Looking at Su Muxin, Du Xiaofu's scarlet eyes fluctuated. A strange expression secretly flashed across his face. He tightly clenched his teeth and retracted his great pung golden wings. He slowly withdrew his aura and said to Su Muxin, "Okay, I will stay and let her leave." Su Muxin faintly smiled and nodded. She then signaled to the beautiful woman in front of her. "Little brother, you are indeed a sentimental person." The beautiful woman's figure soared through the air. Several finger seals condensed into a seal and fell on Du Xiaofu's body. The seal brought Du Xiaofu to the high platform and landed beside Su Muxin. "No need to go through so much trouble. If this kid really has the Qianyang subduing dragon art, he can't hide it from me." Zhao Lu didn't know why, but a trace of undetectable gloominess flashed across her face. She looked at Su Muxin in front of her and Du Xiaofu, who was under the seal. She asked, "Junior Brother Sovereign, I will go and see if that kid really has the Qianyang subduing dragon art. There shouldn't be a problem, right?" Su Muxin's eyes moved, but her expression didn't change as she replied, "Of course there won't be a problem. However, before we can confirm whether the Qianyang subduing dragon art is real, that kid is still useful. Senior Sister Zhao should act appropriately. The Qianyang subduing dragon art is extremely important. Senior Sister Zhao should be clear in her heart that if there is any problem, it will be a big problem." Zhao Lu kept smiling, but her eyes secretly twitched. She smiled and said, "Junior Brother Sovereign, don't worry. Senior Sister knows what to do." "Chi!" As her voice faded, Zhao Lu's graceful figure appeared in front of Du Xiaofu. She formed a seal with her hands, and a mysterious symbol flew out from between her eyebrows and landed on her palm. Her palm turned into a claw and directly landed on Du Xiaofu's forehead. Boom! An enormous amount of Yuan spirit energy instantly gushed into Du Xiaofu's mind. The Yuan spirit energy was enormous, and it rampaged all the way until it directly gushed into Du Xiaofu's Naiwen Palace. Du Xiaofu was restricted, but he could feel that the Yuan spirit energy was extremely special. It seemed to be able to search for his Yuan spirit, and it instantly gushed into his Naiwen Palace. Plah! Suddenly, Zhao Lu trembled at this moment. Her eyes revealed a look of shock, and the Yuan spirit energy retracted at lightning speed. Spiritual thunder. This kid still has a spiritual thunder on his body. Zhao Lu involuntarily cried out in shock. In that split second, her Yuan spirit was directly attacked by the spiritual thunder, and she was greatly affected. That spiritual thunder seemed to be innately suppressing the Yuan spirit energy, causing even her Yuan spirit to tremble. Chapter 1183. Du Xiaofu's eyes were suffused with a wisp of surprise. As Zhao Lu's primordial spirit retreated in shock, a strand of hidden energy quietly fell into his body. There's still a bolt of spirit lightning in the Demon King's body. Hearing this, the surrounding experts of the Hahuan school were also astonished, especially Earth Leizuan. His gaze was tightly fixed on Du Xiaofu's body. When he first saw the wings on Du Xiaofu's back and the divine weapon in his hand, he did not show such a burning greed. Earth Leizuan had comprehended the lightning ability, and a bolt of spirit lightning was definitely a treasure that he needed the most. If he could obtain a bolt of spirit lightning, his cultivation would skyrocket and his future would be limitless. He would be able to break through the martial domain realm. A bolt of spirit lightning. How could it be related to our Manchu? Earth Leizuan involuntarily cried out in shock. However, before he could finish a sentence, he was interrupted by Su Muxin. Looks like senior sister, Zhao won't be able to find anything. After speaking, Su Muxin said to the beautiful woman, senior sister, bring Du Xiaofu into the heavenly prison and guard him closely. Okay. The beautiful woman nodded, grabbed Du Xiaofu and flew away. Along the way, Du Xiaofu's eyes flickered. His entire body was restricted and he secretly pondered. He did not expect that he would still end up in the hands of the Hahuan school. Fortunately, he had the Qianyang dragon subduing art, and the Hahuan school would not immediately deal with him. As he expected, the Qianyang dragon subduing art definitely had an inside story in the Hahuan school. This had become a protective talisman for him. As long as he was fine now, Du Xiaofu knew that he still had a chance. He hoped that Su Muxin would keep her word and agree to release Ji Jian and not cause trouble for the other families. As long as he didn't have to worry about Ji Jian, Du Xiaofu knew that he still had a chance. It wasn't easy to trap him. The pitiful Du Xiaofu was carried by the beautiful woman, and after a short while, they arrived at a deep crevice in a deep valley that was tightly packed with talisman arrays. The crack in the deep valley seemed to go deep into the ground. In the end, they entered a secret cave that was built with special materials and covered with restrictive spells. This heavenly prison, it seems like it hasn't been used for hundreds of years. Little brother, this treatment is not bad. Just stay here for the time being. The beautiful woman opened her mouth and unlocked the restriction on Du Xiaofu's voice. I don't seem to have a choice. Du Xiaofu was restricted, but now that the sound restriction had been lifted, he was able to speak. That's not necessarily true. As long as little brother is willing to hand over the Qianyang subduing dragon art, I think that when the time comes I will still have a chance to live. The beautiful woman was all smiles as she looked at Du Xiaofu. Her gaze was indifferent as she sized up this young man who had a resolute face but was also domineering and ferocious. Her eyes were filled with a hint of charm. Du Xiaofu looked at the charming woman in front of him. She had an alluring figure. This woman shouldn't be young, but her figure and skin were well maintained. I don't know this big sister's name. When the time comes, I will naturally hand over the Qianyang subduing dragon art. However, my memory is not very good. I'm afraid that it will take me a while to remember. Du Xiaofu said indifferently. He needed to buy some time. Little brother, are you trying to get acquainted? There's no harm in telling you. This big sister's name is Tang Miling. People outside call me the Laughing Rakshasa. The Laughing Rakshasa Tang Miling's voice was clear and charming, and her eyes were shining. This big sister advises you not to play tricks. Why don't you tell this big sister about the Qianyang subduing dragon art now? If my junior brother comes, he is not someone to be trifled with. At that time, the one who will regret it will be you. Du Xiaofu's heart sank. This laughing Rakshasa Tang Miling was full of smiles, but she was definitely not someone to be trifled with. Su Muxin was naturally even more difficult to provoke. However, if he were to hand over the Qianyang subduing dragon art now, he was afraid that he would really be in a dead end. Big Sister Miling, if I hand over the Qianyang subduing dragon art, will I still be able to live? You can't lie to me, right? Du Xiaofu's pale face had a trace of a smile. If you hand over the Qianyang subduing dragon art, you will naturally have a chance to live. Although you have killed many of our Hahuan school's experts, handing over the Qianyang subduing dragon art can be considered as making up for your mistakes. There is still a chance for me to let you live. However, if you want to play tricks, I believe that little brother is also a smart person. When that time comes, don't blame this big sister for not doting on little brother. The laughing Rakshasa, Tang Miling, said lightly with a smile. However, there was a hint of threat in her words. Du Xiaofu could naturally feel the threat in Tang Miling's words. The Qianyang subduing dragon art, which was at the peak of the Earth realm, was something so important that the Hahuan school would definitely not let it go. However, in front of the Hahuan school, the Qianyang subduing dragon art was his only protective talisman. Du Xiaofu knew that if he really handed it over, the consequences would be dire. Big Sister Miling is right. How about this? If you want me to hand over the Qianyang subduing dragon art, you have to let me go first. Otherwise, how am I supposed to hand it over? Du Xiaofu secretly turned his gaze and said to the laughing Rakshasa Tang Miling, Hee, little brother, don't think this big sister is stupid. You know that the Qianyang subduing dragon art must have been obtained from the Cloud Rain Mountain. Right now, the method of the Qianyang subduing dragon art must be in your mind. You just need to hand over the method. Why do you need me to let you go? Little brother's abilities are not small. If something happens to you, I won't be able to bear the consequences. The laughing Rakshasa, Tang Miling, smiled faintly. She did not believe Du Xiaofu at all. She said, If little brother is really sincere, just say it. I'll copy it on a jade slip and give it to the sect master to verify. With that, a jade slip appeared in her hand. She waited for Du Xiaofu to tell her the method of the Qianyang subduing dragon art. Looks like Big Sister Miling is already prepared. Du Xiaofu sighed and smiled bitterly. He then told her the method of the Qianyang subduing dragon art in his mind. Apart from the first few sentences, nothing else was true. An hour later, the laughing Rakshasa Tang Miling put the jade slip away. She looked at Du Xiaofu with some confusion in her eyes. She said, Little brother, you're not lying to me, are you? My life is in your hands. Why would I lie to you? Du Xiaofu said seriously. All right, I hope you're telling the truth. Tang Miling smiled and looked at the resolute face in front of her. Then she said, You're really charming. No wonder that little girl from the Ji family was mesmerized by you. If this happened a few decades ago, elder sister would have been mesmerized by you too. As soon as he said that, the laughing Rakshasa, Tang Miling, appeared outside the secret room. She said in a charming voice, Little brother, stay here for now. If the Qianyang subduing dragon art is real, Big Sister will definitely put in a good word for you. Rumble. With that, a huge special gate fell down, sealing off the surroundings. Du Xiaofu's eyes sank as the gate fell. His expression immediately became extremely heavy. Chapter 1184. Undo the seal. Du Xiaofu muttered to himself. The Qianyang subduing dragon technique he had handed over was a fake. When the Hahuan school discovered that the Qianyang subduing dragon technique was fake, they would definitely come looking for him to settle the score. When that time came, Du Xiaofu knew very well that even if he didn't die, he would still suffer. Right now, the only way was to undo the seal left behind by the laughing Rakshasa, Tang Miling, in his body. Others might not be able to do this, but it didn't mean that Du Xiaofu didn't have a solution. Back when Du Xiaofu had been captured by Su Muxin, he had successfully undone the seal. Du Xiaofu only dared to come to the all-pleasure sect because he had some divine abilities, which was equivalent to having a lot of trump cards. Du Xiaofu was never a reckless person. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to survive until now. It was just that others didn't know this. Just the mountain vein spirit alone could ignore all ordinary seals, even though it was currently sealed and couldn't activate the mountain vein spirit. However, Du Xiaofu knew that the lightning martial vein in his body didn't allow any aura to provoke it. Du Xiaofu knew how to activate the lightning martial vein. It had been the same back then. As long as he tried to activate it, he would be able to activate the lightning martial vein in his body and undo the seal on his body. Qi. Following Du Xiaofu's thoughts, the desire to break through the seal surged out. Just as Du Xiaofu had expected, his body immediately began to move. The thunder martial vein in his body began to move. Walala! As the mysterious runes on the talisman rippled, a surge of lightning energy immediately swam through Du Xiaofu's muscles, tendons, and bones. As the lightning martial vein started to react, Du Xiaofu also felt the strong seal placed on his body by the laughing Rakshasa, Tang Meiling, slowly start to show signs of wavering. The thunder martial vein spread out and shook the restrictive spell. Then it started to destroy it. As long as there was enough time, the lightning martial vein would be able to destroy the seal. By time, Du Xiaofu was pleasantly surprised. As long as he destroyed the restrictions on his body, he would be able to leave if he wanted to. All of a sudden, Du Xiaofu's heart skipped a beat. A surge of hidden power immediately surged out from his body, helping him destroy the restrictions that the smiling Rakshasa, Tang Meiling, had set up. Du Xiaofu still remembered that it was left behind by Zhao Lu. But at this moment, the hidden energy was helping Du Xiaofu to remove the restriction in his body, which was equivalent to Zhao Lu secretly helping Du Xiaofu to escape. Du Xiaofu did not know why Zhao Lu wanted to help him. However, he could feel that Zhao Lu and Su Muxin were not on good terms. From this, it could be seen that Hahuan School also had some internal strife. However, this was definitely not the reason why Zhao Lu wanted to help him secretly. The most important thing is to break the seal first. Du Xiaofu did not understand, so he did not intend to continue thinking about it. The most important thing was to break the seal on his body. With the lightning martial vein and the hidden energy left behind by Zhao Lu exploding in his body, Du Xiaofu could feel that the restrictions placed on his body by the smiling Rakshasa, Tang Meiling, were being broken at an extremely fast speed. You are now free. The Hahuan School will not cause trouble for the Ji clan. The Fei clan has suffered a heavy blow this time, so they should not cause trouble for the Ji clan for a short period of time. In the quiet courtyard, Su Muxin spoke to Ji Jian, whose seal had been broken. Her dark purple figure was tall, and her voice was soft and charming. What about Big Brother Dabai? Will you kill him? Ji Jian looked at Su Muxin and bit her lip. There was no joy in her eyes from regaining her freedom. Instead, there was a serious look in her eyes. Su Muxin looked at Ji Jian. After a few breaths of time, she softly said, "He is not your big brother Dabai. He is the Demon King Du Xiaofu. The number of people who have died at his hands is more than 1,000,000. No matter who he is still my big brother Dabai. No matter how many people he has killed, I only know that my big brother Dabai will not kill anyone for no reason." Ji Jian's watery eyes were resolute. Even under the enormous pressure of Su Muxin's invisible pressure, she was still able to stare at Su Muxin. She said, "You are not planning to let Big Brother Dabai go, are you?" Su Muxin stood with her hands behind her back. She softly said to Ji Jian, "This matter has nothing to do with you anymore. Do you think that with your strength you can interfere? Big Brother Dabai came here for me. You want me to stay, but you want him to leave?" Ji Jian looked straight at Su Muxin. Haha! Upon hearing Ji Jian's words, Su Muxin smiled faintly. Her smile was like a blooming epiphyllum. It was ethereal and charming, enough to charm all living things. "Little girl, do you think you have the right to bargain with Hahuan School?" This world is very realistic. Without strength, you are nothing. If you had the strength to defeat me today, perhaps Hahuan School would have taken you seriously. Su Muxin smiled at Ji Jian. Ji Jian's eyes trembled. She knew that she was not strong enough. Compared to Hahuan School, she was no different from an ant. I beg you, let Big Brother Dabai go. I will do anything you want. Tears rolled down Ji Jian's face as she pleaded. She began to blame herself in her heart. Why was she not strong enough? If she had absolute strength, she would not be so helpless now. Little girl, you have to know that this world does not believe in tears. Su Muxin looked indifferently at Ji Jian. She said, If I agree to let that brat go, would you agree to become my woman? Hearing this, Ji Jian raised her eyes slightly. Her eyes were moist as she stared at Su Muxin. Her eyes flickered. After a long time, Ji Jian's red lips parted slightly. Her voice trembled as she said softly, As long as you agree to let Big Brother Dabai go, I will agree. Sigh! Hearing this, Su Muxin sighed softly. After a long time, she took a few steps forward and stood in front of Ji Jian. She gently wiped away the 2 streaks of tears on Ji Jian's cheeks with her dark purple sleeves. She said softly, Little girl, you are still too young. You don't even know who that brat is, and you don't know anything about him. I only know that Big Brother Dabai came here stupidly for me, even though he knew that he could not do anything to Hahuan School. He could have chosen not to come. You captured me just to lure him here, right? Ji Jian instinctively took 2 steps back. She looked at Su Muxin and said, I am willing to give up everything for him. If you really want to kill him, then kill me as well. Kill me while you still can. Otherwise, one day when I come back to Hahuan School, I will definitely wash the Hahuan School in blood. Not even a chicken or dog will be spared. Ha! Su Muxin laughed. She looked at Ji Jian and reached out to let go of the green hair that was tied up at the back of her head. Then, she brushed a few strands of hair across her face. Immediately, under Ji Jian's shocked gaze, a beautiful face was revealed. It was a face that could captivate all living things. It was so beautiful that it was soul-stirring. You are a woman, Ji Jian was flabbergasted. She had never imagined that the bewitching youth in front of her would actually be a woman. The Fei family has suffered heavy losses this time, but they probably still hold a grudge against the Ji family. Sooner or later, they will not let the Ji family off. When that time comes, the Ji family will be in deep trouble. Su Muxin looked at Ji Jian. Her voice became even gentler and more enchanting as she said, You are quite talented, and you have the heavenly Yin body. Even I only have the earthly Yin body. You are most suited to cultivate a set of techniques from Hahuan School. Apart from the Imperial Palace's Dragon Chi, you seem to have received other benefits. Your potential is limitless. The cultivation method of the all-pleasure sect was also not as rumored as the outside world. Become my disciple. With your talent and potential, you will become an expert sooner or later. Whether you are willing to become my disciple or not, as long as Du Xiaofu gives me what I want, I will do my best to spare his life. Now you can choose for yourself. If you are unwilling, I will immediately send someone to send you away. Ji Jian looked at Su Muxin, who was originally a woman. Her eyes flickered as she pondered. After a long time, Ji Jian slightly raised her eyes. Her eyes were filled with determination. She immediately knelt down and kowtowed. Thump, thump! After 3 consecutive kowtows, Ji Jian raised her head and said, Disciple greets master. Good, you may rise. Su Muxin smiled faintly. That smile was enough to charm everyone. Junior brother, junior sister. A figure rushed into the courtyard and entered the room. Seeing Su Muxin's feminine posture, she was surprised and said, Junior sister, it's better if you don't expose yourself. If they know your identity, I'm afraid they won't be able to sit still. It was the laughing Rakshasa, Tang Meiling. From her expression, it seemed that she already knew that Su Muxin was a woman. They can't sit still anymore. Otherwise, they wouldn't have come out today. The Qianyang dragon-subduing art has appeared. This is not something they want to see. Su Muxin said to Tang Meiling. Suddenly, her expression changed, and she said, "Senior sister, why are you back? Where is that brat?" "That brat is in the heavenly prison." The laughing Rakshasa, Tang Meiling, said to Su Muxin. "However, that brat is quite honest. He has already handed over the Qianyang dragon-subduing art. I'm here to show it to you, to verify its authenticity. In the Manchu, other than master, only you can verify the authenticity of the Qianyang dragon-subduing art." As she spoke, Tang Meiling handed a jade slip to Su Muxin and said, "It's a pity that master has been away for more than 10 years. He hoped to find the Qianyang dragon-subduing art in those rumors, but there has been no news. I hope the Qianyang dragon-subduing art the brat gave me this time is real. That brat definitely won't hand over the Qianyang dragon-subduing art so easily. There must be a trap." Su Muxin took the jade slip and peered into it with her consciousness. Her delicate face then changed, and the jade slip instantly cracked and turned into powder in her delicate hand. She looked up slightly and said, "It's fake indeed." "It's fake. That brat actually dared to lie to me. Does he think I'm easy to talk to?" Tang Meiling was instantly enraged. Her face, which was always full of smiles, also had a hint of green and red on it. Thinking of that brat's solemn vow to her and his confident face, Tang Meiling's heart burned with anger. "I didn't think that I would really be fooled by that brat. Quick, let's go to the dungeon." Su Muxin's eyes trembled. She had a bad premonition. "Do you think that brat can escape? I placed a restriction on him. He must be obediently in the dungeon. I'll deal with him later." The laughing Rakshasa, Tang Meiling, said angrily, "That brat has a remarkable ability that can break the restriction." In an instant, Su Muxin had returned to her original male appearance. As soon as she finished speaking, her figure disappeared from the room. A voice rang out, "Yan, come with me." Su Muxin would never forget how that brat and another woman had been able to break the restriction she had placed on Tianhuang mainland. That brat can break the restriction. So what? The laughing Rakshasa, Tang Meiling, smiled faintly. She gently pursed her lips and said softly, "There are restrictions everywhere in the heaven-level dungeon. There are also several layers of talisman arrays. Ordinary martial domain realm cultivators can't escape. Even if they break the restriction, they can't escape. Even if they escape the dungeon, they can't escape from the Hahuan school." As soon as she finished speaking, Tang Meiling also disappeared from the room unhurriedly. Chapter 1185. Tang Meiling calmly disappeared from the room. She didn't believe that Du Xiaofu could escape from the heavenly prison. Chi! Inside the secret dungeon, a purple electric glow surged from Du Xiaofu's body. With a flash of golden light, the restriction on his body was finally broken. "It's not safe here. Let's leave this place first," Du Xiaofu muttered to himself. He looked around the secret dungeon and a smile appeared on his face. Then, the golden runes on his body flickered. The 5-finger mountain peak pulse spirit was activated. Golden light flashed and Du Xiaofu's body was immediately enveloped by the mountain peak pulse spirit. Then Du Xiaofu disappeared into thin air. There was no trace of him in the secret dungeon. Dusk fell on the Hahuan school. On a huge mountain peak that reached into the clouds, the surroundings of the palace courtyard were dyed with clouds and mist that glowed with a golden light. The moment Du Xiaofu's figure disappeared, a beautiful woman's eyes lit up. She said to the 2 beautiful women and the handsome man beside her, "That kid broke the restrictions so quickly. The Qianyang dragon subduing art must not fall into Su Muxin's hands. Even if the Qianyang dragon subduing art falls into Su Muxin's hands, it's not a big deal. Su Muxin can't practice another set of cultivation techniques." The handsome man said with a faint smile on his face, "All these years, I've always felt that something is wrong with Sumushin. Even if he can't practice another set of cultivation techniques, he still has another set of cultivation techniques in his hands. Once the Qianyang dragon subduing art falls into his hands, it will be difficult to carry out our plan, the beautiful woman said. This woman was Zhao Lu. But now that Du Xiaofu has fallen into his hands, if Du Xiaofu really has the Qianyang subduing dragon exercise on him, I'm afraid that sooner or later Sumushin will obtain the Qianyang subduing dragon exercise. A beautiful woman beside Zhao Lu had a worried look on her face. She was still charming and had an enchanting look on her face. Her invisible aura was definitely not below that of the laughing Rakshasa, Tang Meiling. The restriction on Du Xiaofu's body has already been unlocked. That demon king is not easy to deal with. I secretly left a trace of spirit imprint on his body. As long as he and Sumushin are both injured, no matter what the result is, it will be our chance. That brat has a lot of treasures on him, and he even has a spiritual thunder. Zhao Lu sneered. Suddenly, as her voice faded, her eyes flashed with astonishment as she said, "What's going on? That brat seems to have left the imperial prison. How is that possible? That's the Manchuess heavenly prison. How could that brat have escaped? Could it be Sumushin's doing?" The handsome man's face immediately revealed a puzzled look. The imperial prison was so powerful that even an ordinary martial domain realm expert would not be able to leave. Although that demon king, Du Xiaofu, was not weak, it was still hard for the handsome man to believe that he could escape from the imperial prison. "Let's go take a look first. That brat has a lot of treasures on him. We can't miss this opportunity." As Zhao Lu's voice faded, her figure immediately swept across the sky. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh! The two beautiful women and the handsome man's aura fluctuated as they followed closely behind her. Whoosh, whoosh! 3 figures landed outside the heavenly prison that was heavily guarded by talisman arrays. It was Sumushin, the laughing Rakshasa, Tang Meiling, and Jijian. "Look, there's no trace at all. That brat is still obediently staying inside." Looking around, the laughing Rakshasa, Tang Meiling, said to Sumushin with a smile, "This was the Hahuan School's heavenly prison. How could that brat have escaped from it? It would be impossible unless he had seen a ghost." Sumushin's expression turned serious. She waved her long sleeve, and the mysterious runes on the imperial prison's heavenly prison burst out. Rumble! The imperial prison's door opened. The secret room of the imperial prison was empty. "What's going on? Impossible. Where's that brat?" The laughing Rakshasa, Tang Meiling, was the first to rush into the imperial prison's secret room. She had a surprised look on her face as she scanned the surroundings with her consciousness. There was no aura around. At this moment, there was not even a speck of dust in the secret room that she could see. It was impossible for someone to hide in there. That brat has absorbed Leizuan's lightning energy. Even if he has broken the seal, he can't have escaped far. Chase after him quickly. Sumushin had a serious look on her face. She immediately left the imperial prison as soon as she finished speaking. The laughing Rakshasa, Tang Meiling, was furious. She said, "That brat is too hateful. If he falls into my hands again, I'll definitely teach him a lesson. Damn it." At dusk, a simple and vigorous curve appeared between the mountain range and the sky. The mountain peak in the west emitted a red light. The atmosphere was tranquil. Aft! Du Xiaofu appeared at the edge of the mountain range. He smiled evilly and said, "I'm afraid I'll be discovered soon. Do you think I'll escape from the Hahuan School first? I'll do the opposite. But first, I'll have to consume the lightning energy in my body." After muttering those words, Du Xiaofu's figure flashed. He immediately dashed into the mountain range in front of him. A moment later, night had fallen. The mountain range was shrouded in darkness. Du Xiaofu's figure appeared and retracted his aura. This was the depths of the Hahuan School. Any aura fluctuation would not be able to escape the prying eyes of the experts. At this moment, Du Xiaofu needed to find a place to absorb the lightning energy that had been devoured by the thunder martial vein in his body. The huge amount of lightning energy in his body caused Du Xiaofu's qi and blood to churn. He also needed to recover from his injuries. However, this also put Du Xiaofu in a difficult position. If he were to find a place to recover and his aura fluctuated, he would not be able to escape the prying eyes of the experts in the Hahuan school. Once he entered the Purple Thunder Profound Cauldron, Du Xiaofu was also afraid that the Purple Thunder Profound Cauldron would be exposed in the Hahuan school. The consequences would be even more severe. Although he had escaped from the imperial prison, Du Xiaofu still had a bitter smile on his face. He was still in danger. It would not be easy to leave the Hahuan school completely. Not good. How could they catch up with me so quickly? All of a sudden, Du Xiaofu seemed to have sensed something. His expression changed greatly, and a golden light burst out from his back. He activated the golden rock wings at once, and used the carefree steps to rush into the depths of the mountain range. Whoosh, whoosh! Just as Du Xiaofu's figure disappeared for a moment, several figures appeared in midair. Several vigorous and powerful auras froze the void. That kid is quite vigilant. There is a forbidden area in front of him. He has no place to escape, and he can escape. Zhao Lu said. Her figure turned into a flash of lightning and swept across the sky, disappearing in midair in an instant. Walala! In the night sky, a golden light burst out. It was as fast as lightning, like a golden thunderbolt, rapidly streaking across the sky. Kid, you can escape. There is a forbidden area in front of you. You're just courting death. That kid's speed is really strange. How can he be so fast? In mid-air, several flowing light characters swept across the sky. They were extremely fast, even faster than the golden thunderbolt. The golden figure flapped its wings. It was Du Xiaofu. His figure swept across the sky like lightning. The golden rock wings swept across the space ripples. Du Xiaofu lifted his head slightly and looked to the front. His expression was extremely puzzled. A purple-colored lightning surged out of his eyes. The lightning martial veins in his body seemed to have sensed something deep within the mountain range in front of him. Even the resplendent yellow lightning in his body, which had originally swallowed the great earth Thunder Reverend, was fluctuating. What is in front of me? Du Xiaofu was puzzled. At this moment, for auras were chasing him from behind. That voice clearly belonged to Zhao Lu. At this moment, he had no way to retreat. Walala! Gritting his teeth, Du Xiaofu had no way to retreat. He flapped his wings and fled with all his strength. Du Xiaofu knew that if he fell into the hands of the Hahuan school again, he would not have any chance to escape. Suddenly, the lush mountain range in front of him gradually became barren. The surrounding mountains were barren, and there were traces of cracks on the ground. The surrounding space was completely different from the scene in front of him. A faint aura of thunder and lightning filled the space. The aura of thunder and lightning gave Du Xiaofu a very familiar feeling. The closer he got to the front, the more blurred and illusory the space became. The cracks on the ground also became more and more pronounced. It was as if a destructive aura was about to erupt from somewhere. Chapter 1186. Du Xiaofu had no way of shaking off the 4 top-notch experts. Kid, you can escape. Surrender, and I'll spare your life. Otherwise, it's a land of death in front of you. You'll definitely die. Zhao Lu's voice came from behind him. She was getting closer and closer. In a moment, he would be within her attack range. Although Zhao Lu had left some hidden energy in his body to help him break through the restrictions left behind by the laughing Rakshasa, Tang Meiling, Du Xiaofu definitely wouldn't trust Zhao Lu at this moment. He opened his mouth and said, "If you have the ability, catch me first. This little bastard is pretty fast at escaping. It's not a bad idea to let him die in there." Beside Zhao Lu, the handsome man who was chasing after her said gloomily. His speed was only slightly slower than Zhao Lu's. The other two women were slightly slower. It doesn't matter if he dies, but that kid has many treasures on him. Any one of them is a treasure. It'd be a pity to lose them. Zhao Lu's expression was extremely gloomy. Celestial qi surged under her feet, and a dazzling light burst out in the night sky. She gave chase at full speed. Qi. Finally, the distance between them was getting closer. Zhao Lu's brilliant runes swept out from behind him. Bang! Du Xiaofu used the wave-like, carefree steps and dodged it. The energy hit a cracked, barren mountain and destroyed it. Little bastard, if you fall into my hands, I'll make you beg for death, Zhao Lu gloomily said, her complexion gradually becoming more and more unsightly. Qi La! With a few flaps of his wings, Du Xiaofu exploded with golden light. Just as his thunder martial vein and the yellow lightning energy in his body had a special feeling, a vast space suddenly appeared in front of him. It was a vast plain. A strange aura rippled in the night sky. Although it was called a plain, upon closer inspection, one would realize that it was a terrifying sinkhole. It was as vast as a plain. Everything was yellow. The sinkhole was bottomless under the night sky. It was like a black hole that could swallow everything. It made one's heart palpitate at the sight of it. Above the terrifying sinkhole, there were runes flashing and yellow electric arcs rippling. Whoosh! Suddenly, just as Du Xiaofu was about to cross the deep pit, a huge impact force came from the air like a tsunami, creating huge waves in the air. It brought along a resplendent yellow lightning as it swept over with the force of toppling mountains and overturning seas. Pucci! Du Xiaofu stood up. The rock behind him unfolded, and he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of pale golden blood. Looking ahead, Du Xiaofu saw a patch of dazzling runes and resplendent yellow lightning arcs rushing out of the crater. The yellow lightning arcs and the lightning god art that the Earth Thunder Reverend had comprehended came out at the same time. The runes soared into the sky along with the yellow lightning arcs, connecting the night sky. It was like a waterfall pouring down from the 9 heavens, rippling with a terrifying aura. What a powerful rune array! Du Xiaofu wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. In front of him was a huge and terrifying rune array that covered the sinkhole. The rune array's aura seemed to be a sealing rune array, but its aura was much more terrifying than the rune array set up in the Hahuan School Square during the day. It was definitely a 9-star rune array. Whoosh whoosh! Following Du Xiaofu's delay, several figures behind him landed dozens of feet away. Boom! For powerful auras descended one after another, shrouding and sealing the surrounding space. Little bastard, let's see where you can run now. That's a land of death. You'll definitely die if you go in. The handsome man's face was gloomy. His eyes were as deep and vast as the stars, but at this moment, a cold light shot out from his eyes. He was about to attack Du Xiaofu. However, the light in Zhao Lu's eyes slightly changed, and she blocked the handsome man without leaving a trace. Zhao Lu's beautiful figure slowly stepped forward. Her golden mist gown was embroidered with a few rich peonies, and it dragged on the ground, outlining a graceful arc. She was like a young girl. The gloominess on her face disappeared without a trace, as if she was a different person. Her eyes were even more charming. Looking at Du Xiaofu, she said, "Little brother Xiaofu, I think you should know what's going on since you were able to break the seal. Therefore, you should know that I don't have any ill intentions towards you." Du Xiaofu looked at Zhao Lu in front of him, and his figure slowly retreated, gradually approaching the talisman array. Runes rippled around his back, and electric arcs flickered. A terrifying aura was boiling behind him. Once that terrifying aura came into contact with him, the consequences would be worrying. His gaze was fixed on Zhao Lu and the other 3 in front of him. Du Xiaofu did not look behind him, but at this moment he could feel that the deep pit under the terrifying talisman array seemed to be sealing something, causing the thunder martial vein in his body to fluctuate. Du Xiaofu could also feel that the resplendent yellow lightning energy in his body, which was originally devouring Lezuan's earth, was fluctuating violently at this moment, as if it felt something of the same origin. If you don't have any ill intentions towards me, why did you chase after me? Du Xiaofu had no way to retreat. He slightly raised his head and looked at Zhao Lu, who was approaching in front of him. On Zhao Lu's charming face, her eyes twitched slightly, but she did not hide it. Looking at Du Xiaofu, her charm was even more alluring. Her voice was soft and gentle as she said, "Without me, I'm afraid you won't be able to leave the Hahuan school. Believe me, I don't have any ill intentions towards you. I'll send you out of the Hahuan school. Otherwise, Su Muxin will not let you go." "Why should I believe you?" Du Xiaofu asked in a deep voice, looking ahead. With 4 such experts sealing the space, there was no chance for him to escape. "Because I secretly helped you escape. Otherwise, why would I help you escape?" Zhao Lu looked at Du Xiaofu with a serious face, and with an innocent smile of a young girl, she said, "To tell you the truth, little brother Xiaofu, I've always been at odds with Su Muxin. I'm the school superintendent of the Hahuan school, and he's the schoolmaster. The Demon King, Du Xiaofu's name has shaken Kyushu, and he's the #1 expert of the younger generation in Kyushu. I've always wanted the Hahuan school to be on good terms with little brother Xiaofu, but that Su Muxin is bent on killing little brother Xiaofu." Du Xiaofu's eyes flickered with a faint golden light as he looked at Zhao Lu and said, "Is what you said true?" "Of course it's true. Elder sister can swear that I'm at odds with that Su Muxin. Even if it's because the enemy of my enemy is my friend, I'll definitely help little brother Xiaofu escape. As long as little brother Xiaofu remembers elder sister's kindness in the future, it's fine." Zhao Lu's smile was captivating. She slowly approached Du Xiaofu and said, "Moreover, little brother Xiaofu is the #1 expert of the younger generation, and his future is limitless. If my Hahuan school can be on good terms with little brother Xiaofu, we might be able to obtain great benefits in the future." Du Xiaofu nodded at Zhao Lu and said, "All right, I'll believe you for the time being. We should have some trust in each other. Don't you think so, little brother Xiaofu?" Zhao Lu's face was full of smiles, and a trace of joy flashed in her eyes. "Of course, I'm willing to believe you for once." Du Xiaofu earnestly nodded. The instant his voice faded, a purple flame suddenly erupted from his body. The surrounding space was suddenly filled with a terrifying, blazing purple flame, and in a flash it swept toward Zhao Lu like a purple, flaming meteorite. Chila! Almost in an instant, Zhao Lu's face suddenly changed. A resplendent rune energy swept out like lightning and directly swept towards Du Xiaofu. Chapter 1187. Rumble. The 2 energies collided. Purple flames overflowed into the sky as runes shone brightly, engulfing a large mountain range before everything disappeared. Women are indeed unreliable, and old women are even more unreliable. As Du Xiaofu's laughter faded, his body was already wrapped in a dazzling golden light. The 5-finger mountain peak vein spirit shadow covered his body as he directly rushed into the array. Under the eyes of Zhao Lu and the handsome man, Du Xiaofu directly entered the bottomless pit. Swoosh! Zhao Lu's figure swept away the purple flames and rune energies, spreading in all directions like lightning as she rushed forward. However, she was already a step too late. Du Xiaofu's figure had already rushed into the array and directly jumped into the heavenly pit and disappeared. "This little bastard is too treacherous." The handsome man rushed forward and looked at Du Xiaofu, who had jumped into the heavenly pit with a gloomy expression. "That brat is dead for sure. It's just a pity that he lost all his treasures." Zhao Lu was filled with hatred. She did not expect that Du Xiaofu would actually turn his back on her. It's good that he's dead. After all, the Qianyang dragon subduing art has disappeared and is no longer a threat to us. The handsome man sneered. "That's all we can do. However, those treasures are all precious treasures. There's also that spirit thunder. I'm afraid that spirit thunder will also be devoured in the end. Zhao Lu was still reluctant to part with the treasures on Du Xiaofu's body. Her heart ached. Those treasures were all precious treasures, and it was difficult to find even one of them. Now that they had fallen into that place, they would most likely be destroyed. Swoosh, swoosh! As Zhao Lu's voice faded, two figures landed. Their auras surged. It was Su Muxin and the laughing Rakshasa, Tang Meiling. The two of them landed on the ground and looked at the seal array. Looking at Su Muxin and Tang Meiling, Zhao Lu and the handsome man turned their heads and looked at each other. Their expressions changed slightly. Sect Master, shouldn't you explain why Du Xiaofu was able to escape? Zhao Lu looked at Su Muxin with a gloomy expression. That brat has some tricks up his sleeves. He can break the restriction and the talisman formation. You saw it just now. He can directly break the talisman formation and enter the forbidden area, Su Muxin said in a deep voice. She looked at the sinkhole with a strange look in her eyes. You want to shirk responsibility with just a few words? I'm afraid that's impossible. You should know how important the Qianyang subduing dragon art is to our Hahuan school. I don't know if you obtained the Qianyang subduing dragon art or if you purposely let that brat Du Xiaofu go. In short, as the supervisor, this matter is of great importance. I can't ignore it, Zhao Lu said to Su Muxin. Senior sister Zhao, aren't you being a little too presumptuous in front of the sect leader? The smiling face of the laughing Rakshasa, Tang Meiling, suddenly turned gloomy and fierce. She was also a person who could turn hostile at a moment's notice. Tang Meiling's nickname was the Laughing Rakshasa. Everyone in the Shang prefecture knew that she was definitely not someone to be trifled with. Tang Meiling, you were the one who set up the restriction on Du Xiaofu. Now that Du Xiaofu has escaped, you can't get away with it. The Qianyang subduing dragon art is of great importance. This time you'll be punished, Zhao Lu said in a gloomy voice. You! Tang Meiling opened her mouth with a fierce expression. She seemed to want to argue, but Su Muxin stopped her. Su Muxin looked at Zhao Lu with an indifferent expression. Her voice was still charming as she said, I'll explain this matter to the elders. Senior sister Zhao, you don't have to worry about it. That's good. I'll tell the elders. I hope junior brother, sect master, can explain it clearly. Otherwise, even if you're the Hahuan school's sect master, you'll still be punished. A cold glint flashed across Zhao Lu's eyes. She then signaled with her eyes and left with the handsome man and the two beautiful women. That kid has entered the forbidden area. That's a land of death. No one can subdue the terrifying thing inside, but no one is willing to give it up. Therefore, 2,000 years ago, all the 9-star talisman masters and martial domain realm experts of the Hahuan school worked together to seal it. Over the past 2,000 years, many experts of the Manchu have entered in an attempt to subdue that terrifying thing, but none of them came out. 500 years ago, a 9-star talisman master and a martial domain realm expert of the Hahuan school worked together to enter in an attempt to subdue that terrifying thing. In the end, they never came out. Only a few core people of the Manchu know about this. That's why we were able to escape the prying eyes of the outside world. Now that the kid has entered, I'm afraid he's dead for sure. The laughing Rakshasa, Tang Meiling, looked at the vast sinkhole with a grave expression. That kid is an anomaly. If he dares to enter, he must have something up his sleeve. Su Muxin's eyes glowed with a faint purple light in the night sky. How did that little bastard break the seal? He even ignored all the talisman arrays. That's too terrifying. Tang Meiling was stunned and puzzled for a long time. To be able to break the seal and ignore all the talisman arrays, such a remarkable ability, was simply abnormal. If I'm not wrong, it should have something to do with his mountain pulse spirit, said Su Muxin. Let's ignore that little bastard for now. I'm afraid that Zhao Lu will take this opportunity to cause trouble. The laughing Rakshasa, Tang Meiling, looked at Su Muxin with a grave expression. Su Mushin looked up slightly, her eyes glowing as she said softly, "Their purpose shouldn't be as simple as just causing trouble. This time, I'm afraid they've already made preparations. I just don't know how many people they've secretly gathered." Du Xiaofu jumped into the sinkhole with the mountain pulse spirit wrapped around him. After breaking through the talisman arrays, the mountain pulse spirit lost its effect. The air was filled with a destructive aura of thunder and lightning. The sinkhole was bottomless, as deep as a black hole. Du Xiaofu put away the mountain pulse spirit in his body and slowly descended. The vast sinkhole seemed to lead to the netherworld, and it was completely different from the one above. Several hundred meters below the ground, it was already quiet. There was no sound in the surroundings, and no aura could be sensed. In the end, there was fog lingering in the vast and deep space. The fog, gushing out from the depths of the earth, covered the space. It was vast and boundless, and one's vision was dim. No one knew how vast this space was. In the fog, a floating stone strangely appeared in the clouds, as if something was holding it up. Du Xiaofu landed, and the floating stone was as steady as a rock. Du Xiaofu looked around and probed with his mind. At this moment, the thunder martial vein seemed to have sensed something, but it had disappeared. "This is the forbidden area of Hahuan School. No one should be able to enter." Du Xiaofu looked around. This was the forbidden area of Hahuan School. The aura was strange, and it was probably not a good place. "Let's heal first." Sitting cross-legged, Du Xiaofu immediately began to breathe. The injuries on his body and the thunder and lightning energy that he had devoured needed to be dealt with. Only then could he deal with everything. As for the other problems, he would have to wait until he recovered before he could consider them. Walala! A moment later, Du Xiaofu's body was enveloped in a circle of golden light, and there was a faint, bright yellow lightning flashing on his body. Time passed slowly. The next day, the news that the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, had escaped spread out in Hahuan School. Immediately, the entire Hahuan School was in an uproar. That Demon King is too terrifying. He can actually escape from the heaven-level prison. It is said that even the legendary martial domain realm experts can be imprisoned in that prison. I really don't know how that Demon King cultivates. He's the same age as us, but he's so terrifying. I don't know where that Demon King has escaped to. He won't attack us when the time comes, right? Other than the Supreme Elders, the Sect Master, and the Sect Supervisor, no one is a match for that Demon King. In Hahuan School, the disciples discussed animatedly, and rumors spread everywhere. As for the elders of the All-Pleasure Sect, they did not show themselves. The atmosphere of the entire Hahuan School became tense for no reason, as if a storm was about to come. A few days later, on the floating stone in the vast space, the golden light enveloping Du Xiaofu's body became more and more resplendent. It emitted a domineering aura that spread out in the vast space. Chapter 1188. Amidst the faint golden halo, Du Xiaofu's body was still shrouded in bright yellow lightning arcs. At this moment, the bright yellow lightning arcs were unable to cause any substantial damage to Du Xiaofu's body, which had already been tempered by the purple-gold profound lightning from the purple lightning profound cauldron. Furthermore, Du Xiaofu still had the thunder martial vein in his body. As it absorbed the bright yellow lightning arcs, it was faintly strengthening. The strengthening of the thunder martial vein was far less effective than the previous time when he swallowed the silver net soul devouring lightning. However, Du Xiaofu could clearly feel that his thunder martial vein was actually strengthening. Chila! At some point in time, yellow lightning arcs seeped out from the vast void. The yellow lightning arcs lit up the entire space, allowing people to see clearly that they were surrounded by a vast sea of underground clouds. In the center of the sea of clouds, there was a huge hole. It was bottomless, but it was not pitch black. Instead, it was filled with yellow light. The yellow lightning arcs rippled with a kind of heaviness and destruction, just like the earth. More and more yellow lightning arcs appeared, covering the entire vast space. The overflowing lightning arcs lit up the space brighter and brighter. Traces of destructive ripples spread out violently. On the floating rock, Du Xiaofu sat cross-legged, enveloped by the golden halo. Du Xiaofu's eyes were tightly shut. Although he was doing breathing exercises to heal his injuries, his mind was the most clear at this moment. It spread out in all directions, and even the slightest ripples could not escape his senses. Chi! Suddenly, Du Xiaofu seemed to have felt something. In a short moment, his eyes suddenly opened. 2 rays of golden light shot out, as if they had materialized. They shot out directly into the vast sea of clouds, and his figure disappeared from the floating rock. Bang! As Du Xiaofu's figure disappeared from where he was, the rock that he had just sat on was immediately struck by a resplendent arc of lightning. It shattered into pieces, and the surrounding space was blown to smithereens. Above the clouds, Du Xiaofu's body was wrapped in golden light. Golden light shot out from his eyes as he looked at the deep hole covered by the clouds. The yellow lightning arcs were everywhere, but the materialized lightning arcs just now had shot out from the deep hole. What a familiar aura! Du Xiaofu thought to himself as he looked at the deep hole. There was a faint crackling sound of thunder. The sound was like a tide, and it made Du Xiaofu frown. When the sound came, Du Xiaofu's thunder martial vein was. He could clearly feel his thunder martial vein was being affected by something. At this moment, even the silver net soul-devouring lightning in Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit in the Naiwen Palace in his mind began to fluctuate. Outside his Naiwen Palace, the 3,000 jolting thunder soul seed left behind by Du Xiaofu's master, the weapon revered Xiahou Fenglei, miraculously began to fluctuate. This doesn't seem normal, Du Xiaofu's frown deepened. He could clearly feel an extremely powerful energy fluctuating in the deep hole. That violent and destructive energy was able to affect Du Xiaofu's thunder martial vein and silver net soul devouring lightning. It was clearly related to thunder and lightning. To be able to possess such lightning energy that even Du Xiaofu was shocked by, it was not very likely that it was. Could it be? Suddenly, Du Xiaofu's eyes trembled violently. He couldn't help but exclaim, could it be that there is a spirit thunder sealed by the Hahuan schools, symbol array? Roar! Just as Du Xiaofu's voice fell, the faint roar of a beast could be heard from the deep hole. The roar of the beast was extremely soft, as if it came from the depths of the ground. However, the soft sound was like a sudden clap of thunder when it entered one's ears. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was certain that the thing trapped by the Hahuan school's symbol array in the deep hole was definitely a terrifying thing. Even the experts of the Hahuan school were unable to do anything about it. Therefore, they could only trap it here. It was very likely that it was a powerful spirit thunder. Roar! At the same time, the roar of the beast could be heard again. At this moment, the roar was becoming more and more violent. It was as if a terrifying thing was about to rush out from the deep hole. Du Xiaofu floated in the air. He was enveloped in golden light. The golden rock wings on his back were activated in case of an emergency. His expression was solemn. Walala! As the roar of the beast resounded again, the overflowing yellow lightning arcs in the vast sea of clouds became even more resplendent. In a short period of time, the entire space began to ripple with a violent and majestic destructive energy. The yellow lightning arcs in the surroundings whistled and mixed with the fluctuations of the sea of clouds. It was as if waves were rolling up. That destructive power seemed to want to destroy this space as well. Spirit thunder. This is a spirit thunder. This place is trapping a spirit thunder. Du Xiaofu was finally certain. His face immediately turned ashen. That familiar energy fluctuation, through the lightning martial vein and the silver gauze soul-devouring lightning in his body, allowed Du Xiaofu to be certain that this place was trapping a spirit thunder. Moreover, it was an absolutely powerful spirit thunder. This is not good. Du Xiaofu took a deep breath and clenched his fists. If he went out, he was afraid that the experts of the Hahuan school would be waiting for him. However, he was afraid that he would have to face a powerful spirit thunder. Du Xiaofu knew that this was a desperate situation. Sizzle! In the vast sea of clouds, the yellow lightning arcs became more and more resplendent and surged violently. Waves of violent and destructive energy filled the air. Roar! Suddenly, the bright yellow lightning arcs rushed out from the deep hole in the space. As the yellow lightning arcs splashed into the sky, the roar of a beast was heard. Suddenly, a lightning-type exotic beast whose entire body was covered in bright and transparent yellow electric arcs and whose head was like a python's appeared in front of Du Xiaofu's astonished eyes in a terrifying manner, bringing with it a sky full of bright yellow electric arcs and the destructive lightning energy that shook the space around it. The exotic beast rushed out. It was so huge that it seemed to have been imprisoned for countless years. It raised its head like a giant dragon and soared into the sky. A terrifying sound wave of the beast's roar spread out from its ferocious mouth like a thunderclap. Roar! The sound wave of the exotic beast's roar was enough to shatter the vital spirit of a martial, venerable expert above the transcendent level. Rumble! The roar made the vast sea of lightning arcs and clouds around them seem to have been suddenly thrown into countless bombs. The sound of thunder resounded continuously in the space. Lightning arcs overflowed and dazzling lightning runes surged wildly. As the exotic beast rushed out, Du Xiaofu saw that it was actually a giant tortoise. When its head rushed out, it looked like a giant python or a giant dragon. The giant yellow lightning tortoise was thousands of feet in size and covered the entire space. The giant lightning tortoise rushed out. Its eyes, which were filled with yellow lightning arcs, stared at Du Xiaofu with a destructive aura. Being stared at by the giant lightning tortoise, Du Xiaofu couldn't help sweating all over. When the tortoise stared at him with its ferocious eyes, Du Xiaofu felt as if two giant lightning black holes had descended and shrouded him. It was as if his entire body had been scanned from the inside out, making it difficult for him to hide anything. You actually have two types of spirit lightning in your body. The heavens are really helping me. Once I devour those two types of spirit lightning, the symbol array will no longer be able to trap me. Once I break free, I will definitely destroy the Hahuan school to make up for the hatred of being trapped. The giant yellow lightning tortoise spoke in human language. Its voice was like a thunderclap. Its ferocious eyes stared fiercely at Du Xiaofu. There was only madness and destruction in its eyes. When the giant tortoise's voice faded, an extremely violent energy fluctuation spread out from its huge body. Chi-La, the giant lightning tortoise's ferocious head, which was like a giant python flying dragon, directly charged at Du Xiaofu. It wanted to devour Du Xiaofu. When the terrifying energy rushed over, it immediately froze the surrounding space. Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit also felt a chill. At this moment, he couldn't escape even if he wanted to. Tyrannical Sword Path. Without any hesitation, Du Xiaofu directly summoned the purple gold heavenly tower. He activated the tyrannical sword path and slashed out with all his strength. Chapter 1189. Chi-La! The sword aura tore through the air and instantly collided with the lightning tortoise's head. The lightning tortoise was not afraid at all. It directly spat out a dazzling bolt of lightning from its mouth, destroying Du Xiaofu's sword aura. The lightning tortoise's ferocious head was faster than lightning. It instantly covered a large area of the void. Like a python pouncing on its prey, it bit down on the space around Du Xiaofu. Not good. Du Xiaofu was shocked. This lightning tortoise was much more terrifying than he had imagined. Chi-La! The purple gold heavenly tower in his hand turned into a purple gold ribbon and flew out with all his might. The golden rock wings on his back flapped with all their might. Du Xiaofu activated the rock, descends to the 9 heavens, carrying the domineering will of the golden-winged rock race, and broke free from the spatial restraints brought by the lightning tortoise. Roar! At the same time, Du Xiaofu let out a roar that sounded like a dragon roaring to the 9 heavens and a divine elephant trumpeting. It was as if heavenly thunder had exploded in the space, and a loud bang reverberated in the mouth of the lightning tortoise. Waves of sound waves spread out like waves of air, shaking the space and distorting it intensely. Chi-la-la, using the force of the sound waves to push back, Du Xiaofu instantly retreated with lightning speed with the help of the sound waves. This roar was like a dragon roaring to the 9 heavens and a divine elephant trumpeting. It contained the power to move mountains and overturn seas. It was enough to make mountains collapse and the earth crack, destroying everything. It was Du Xiaofu's domineering way that contained a domineering martial intent. The sound waves swept out, creating a strange sound of wind and thunder. It was like the rumbling of heavenly thunder, and it also shattered the space in the giant tortoise's mouth. A large area of yellow lightning arcs was also destroyed by the sound waves. Chi-la! Everything happened in the blink of an eye. Du Xiaofu's figure immediately broke free from the giant lightning tortoise's ferocious mouth before it completely closed. Purple gold, heavenly tower, domineering sword path. Rock descends to the 9 heavens, domineering fist path. After using all the trump cards he could use, Du Xiaofu only barely escaped. It was clear how terrifying the lightning tortoise was. PFFF! Although he managed to escape, the heavenly palace of purple gold had already been devoured. When Du Xiaofu tried to control the heavenly palace of purple gold with his mind, he discovered that the heavenly palace of purple gold had already been enveloped by the giant lightning tortoise. A terrifying destructive force of lightning swept over his mind, causing Du Xiaofu's mind to almost sever its connection with the heavenly palace of purple gold. Faint golden blood immediately flowed out of his mouth. We've gone too far this time. Du Xiaofu's expression was grave. That resplendent yellow lightning tortoise was too terrifying. It was many times stronger than the silver sieve soul-devouring lightning. Roar! After the giant lightning tortoise turned its ferocious head around, it let out a thunderous roar as it did not directly devour the human in front of it. Its eyes were filled with an ominous glint as it stared fixedly at Du Xiaofu with an expression of absolute greed. He looked like a venomous snake pouncing on its prey, waiting for another effective strike. This spiritual lightning wants to devour me. Du Xiaofu's face was gloomy. The greedy look in the lightning tortoise's eyes clearly indicated that it wanted to devour him directly. It wanted the 3,000 vibrating lightning soul seed and the silver sieve soul devouring lightning in his body. With the silver sieve soul devouring lightning in his body, Du Xiaofu's understanding of spiritual lightning had increased by a lot. Spiritual lightning was a kind of foreign object in this world that was born between heaven and earth. It was a foreign object in this world that was extremely rare. All spiritual lightning might have different abilities and characteristics, but they all had one thing in common, and that was that any kind of spiritual lightning possessed a terrifying power. This was something that Du Xiaofu could clearly understand from the silver sieve soul devouring lightning and his master's 3,000 vibrating lightning. As a foreign object in this world, spiritual lightning knew to devour the energy it needed to strengthen itself, even if it had not been born for long and had yet to gain intelligence. Devouring other types of spiritual lightning was even more beneficial. If one type of spiritual lightning could devour another type of spiritual lightning, it would undergo a qualitative change. It would possess the abilities of the 2 types of spiritual lightning, and its strength would increase tremendously. Du Xiaofu looked at the lightning tortoise in front of him. It was formed by spiritual lightning. At this moment, this spiritual lightning was clearly targeting the 2 types of spiritual lightning in his body, making him its prey. However, he was afraid that he would not be able to escape. Du Xiaofu's golden wings slowly flapped behind him as he retreated. He wanted to find a chance to escape. At the very least, he had to get as far away as possible. Otherwise, once the lightning tortoise attacked again, he was afraid that he would not have the chance to escape. Just as Du Xiaofu's figure was about to retreat, The huge lightning tortoise had already sensed it. It immediately lifted its head, and yellow lightning exploded from its huge body. The head, which was like a giant python flying dragon, rushed towards Du Xiaofu again. Du Xiaofu looked at the lightning tortoise that launched another attack. A terrifying sense of oppression had already solidified the vast void. A destructive and majestic energy rushed towards him, causing his soul to tremble. Roar, the yellow lightning tortoise roared, and the sound waves distorted the space. The destructive lightning energy first penetrated the space and enveloped Du Xiaofu. Boom! Du Xiaofu moved. A silver-white arc of lightning burst out from between his eyebrows in an instant. A silver lightning arc immediately overflowed in all directions. The silver lightning arc soared into the sky and instantly turned into a silver-white lightning tree that was more than 100 feet tall. The silver-white lightning tree was condensed from silver lightning, causing the surrounding sea of yellow lightning arcs to be separated into a sea of silver lightning. A terrifying pressure descended. Silver lightning fluctuated, and the aura was terrifying. In an instant, under a shocking explosion of heavenly thunder, the huge silver lightning tree and the ferocious head of the huge lightning tortoise violently collided. Immediately, the rumbling sound of heavenly thunder resounded endlessly in this vast space. Rumble, the thunder resounded, and the space exploded. The sky was filled with yellow and silver lightning arcs. The terrifying energy surged in the vast sky, and there was only destruction. However, the silver lightning tree began to crumble. It could not withstand the destructive and violent yellow lightning. Roar! In such a terrifying collision, the huge lightning tortoise's ferocious head was not affected much. Looking at the silver lightning, the lightning tortoise's eyes became even more ferocious and greedy. It rushed out again and pounced towards Du Xiaofu. Evil creature! Du Xiaofu cursed loudly, but he was complaining in his heart. His golden eyes were suddenly suffused with a kind of purple thunderlight. He condensed a hand seal, and his whole body was immediately covered with a purple thunderlight talisman pattern. Suddenly, with Du Xiaofu's body as the center, purple lightning appeared in the void and instantly covered the entire sky. Boom! A large amount of purple lightning gathered, and in an instant, the vast space trembled violently. As if it felt something, the lightning tortoise that was rushing out suddenly paused. Its ferocious eyes looked around, as if it was searching for something. Boom! Du Xiaofu activated the lightning martial vein in his body, and purple lightning arcs spread out from the surface of his body. Lightning swept across the sky like a rainstorm, and purple-silver snakes flashed in the void. A murderous aura spread out. It was not austere, but it showed the majesty of creation and the righteousness of heaven and earth. This purple lightning was as strong as Yang, and it could sweep across the sky and punish all living things. At this moment, the lightning tortoise's eyes locked onto Du Xiaofu's body, and it trembled slightly. However, in the next moment, a huge yellow lightning bolt violently spewed out from the lightning tortoise's ferocious mouth and swept towards Du Xiaofu. Dazzling yellow lightning energy ribbons streaked across the space like a golden lightning bolt. The traces of space were automatically separated. In Du Xiaofu's palm, purple gold lightning gathered and with an even more terrifying pressure, collided violently. In an instant, the two lightning bolts collided and the lightning energy exploded, like a bright firework bursting into the sky. Rumble, dazzling yellow lightning, and purplish gold lightning filled the air. This kind of collision caused thunderous explosions to resound in the air. Du Xiaofu activated the purple gold lightning energy, and the pressure was obviously stronger. However, in terms of aura, Du Xiaofu's lightning martial vein was forcibly suppressed and destroyed by the yellow lightning. Sizzle, Du Xiaofu's body was directly pushed back, and the collision of energy caused him to spit out a mouthful of pale golden blood. Chapter 1190. Roar, however, before he could stabilize his body, the ferocious head of the large yellow lightning tortoise suddenly appeared in the sky. Chila! An even more resplendent and destructive yellow lightning energy erupted from Du Xiaofu's body from the mouth of the giant lightning tortoise. Your body is very strange. I feel that it is even more beneficial to me than the two spirit lightnings. The heavens are really helping me. The giant lightning tortoise roared. The resplendent and destructive yellow lightning had already arrived in front of Du Xiaofu in an instant. Do you really think that I am easy to devour? Du Xiaofu was also enraged. As he roared, although his body had not stabilized, a purple-gold flowing light had already shot out from his palm. In an instant, it transformed into a huge, three-legged cauldron that covered the vast space. Boom! In an instant, the lightning space violently trembled as purple-gold thunderclouds gathered out of thin air. As lightning flashed and thunder roared, a large patch of purple-gold lightning hovered in the sky with an aura of destruction. Chi-la-la! Large patches of purple-gold lightning wreaked havoc, as if countless bombs had exploded in the void of this deep pit. At this moment, Du Xiaofu had no other choice but to activate his final trump card, the Purple Lightning Profound Cauldron. The purple-gold profound lightning was like the king of lightning. The pressure that emanated from the purple-gold profound lightning was not something that ordinary spirit lightnings could compare to. In an instant, the purple-gold profound lightning surged out from the purple lightning profound cauldron, transforming into a huge purple-gold lightning vortex that directly swallowed the yellow lightning that was rushing towards Du Xiaofu. The resplendent yellow lightning was very powerful and violent. At this moment, even Du Xiaofu, who had activated his lightning martial vein, could not suppress it. However, at this moment, the resplendent yellow lightning energy was directly absorbed into the purple-gold profound lightning vortex below the purple lightning profound cauldron. This did not mean that Du Xiaofu's lightning martial vein was inferior to the purple lightning profound cauldron. Instead, it was because Du Xiaofu's strength was not enough. The power of the lightning martial vein was far from the level that it should be. Of course, with Du Xiaofu's current strength, the power of the purple lightning profound cauldron could not reach the level that it should be. However, the purple lightning profound cauldron was able to directly absorb the yellow lightning energy. With the help of the purple lightning profound cauldron, the lightning profound lightning, and profound lightning profound purple lightning could directly devour the yellow lightning. At this moment, the giant lightning tortoise seemed to have sensed something as well. Its ferocious eyes rippled, and its huge body rippled violently, causing bright yellow lightning to overflow in all directions in this vast space. Lightning runes rippled in the air, as if they had turned into a resplendent yellow lightning pool. Keep! Seeing that the purple lightning profound cauldron had already taken effect, Du Xiaofu fully activated the purple lightning profound cauldron. The purple-gold lightning vortex was like a terrifying purple-gold black hole, swallowing and spitting out a huge suction force that directly pulled the yellow lightning into the purple lightning profound cauldron. Walala! The resplendent yellow lightning pool seemed to be pulled by some invisible force and uncontrollably rushed towards the purple lightning profound cauldron. The violent and destructive yellow lightning disappeared the moment it came into contact with the purple-gold profound lightning vortex. It immediately disappeared into the purple lightning profound cauldron. Rumble! The void trembled violently. It was so deafening that it caused pain in one's eardrums and made one's mind dizzy. Countless yellow lightning bolts flashed. The huge yellow lightning bolts danced wildly and rushed towards the purple lightning profound cauldron. At this moment, the purple lightning profound cauldron was like a bottomless pit. It pulled the yellow lightning in and did not move at all. What is that? This change caused the giant lightning tortoise's eyes to be filled with fear. The huge lightning tortoise's body moved horizontally and exploded with huge yellow lightning bolts that covered the sky. It was like a heavenly thunder erupting, pressing towards the purple, lightning, profound cauldron. "Devour!" Du Xiaofu shouted and poured all the profound qi in his body into the purple, lightning, profound cauldron. Du Xiaofu fully activated the purple lightning profound cauldron. It was like countless purple, gold, spiritual snakes were shuttling through the void. The purple, gold, profound lightning vortex continued to devour the violent yellow lightning energy. Rumble. The purple, gold lightning vortex in the purple lightning profound cauldron devoured the violent yellow lightning. Large amounts of purple gold lightning spread out from the vortex, and a rumbling sound reverberated in the air. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was not feeling well either. Blood kept flowing out of his mouth. The purple lightning profound cauldron exploded and absorbed all the profound qi in his god's watchtower. This consumption was huge. Du Xiaofu had already used up a lot of profound qi. Originally, Du Xiaofu's injuries had not fully recovered, and he could not hold on for a while. The lightning tortoise was too strong. The purple gold profound lightning under the purple lightning profound cauldron was unable to support Du Xiaofu's profound qi, and its power had decreased significantly. "Puny human, it turns out that you are not strong enough." The lightning tortoise felt this change. Its fierce eyes shot out lightning and yellow lightning bolts across the sky. It was as if countless bombs had exploded. The destructive power kept attacking the purple lightning profound cauldron. "Go all out and give it your all." Du Xiaofu gritted his teeth. He took out a large amount of spiritual herbs and heavenly treasures from his cosmos bag and stuffed them into his mouth. After swallowing the large amount of heavenly treasures and spiritual herbs, Du Xiaofu used the golden winged rock technique to refine them and turn them into profound qi to support the purple lightning profound cauldron. Outside, the lightning tortoise was suppressing him. Inside, the heavenly treasures and spiritual herbs had turned into energy surging. Du Xiaofu did not feel good. If it was an ordinary, transcendent martial venerable, he would have been played to death by him. However, Du Xiaofu had already given it his all, but it was still difficult for him to resist the lightning tortoise. Pooh! The earth-shattering yellow lightning bolts pressed down and shattered the void, causing the purple lightning profound cauldron and Du Xiaofu to be pushed back. "There are many treasures, but they are still too weak. After I devour you and obtain this treasure, no one in this world will be able to do anything to me." The lightning tortoise roared loudly, and thunder pressed down on the sky. It could feel that the three-legged cauldron was also a treasure. The aura on the human's body and the two spiritual thunders seemed to have been prepared for it. Once it obtained it, no one in this world would be able to do anything to it. Du Xiaofu waved his sleeve and wiped the blood from his mouth. The lightning martial veins on his body were attracted by the yellow lightning and were about to erupt. Humph! At this moment, Du Xiaofu let out a deep snort and suddenly made a shocking decision. He clenched his teeth slightly, and his body directly soared into the sky and collided with the giant lightning tortoise, allowing himself to be immersed in the monstrous and resplendent yellow lightning. Rumble! Yellow lightning swept up, exploding with the sound of thunder. Under that terrifying force, Du Xiaofu could not help but spit out a mouthful of pale golden blood. The pale golden blood immediately turned into smoke in the lightning, and his body was about to explode into ashes in an instant. However, at this moment, Du Xiaofu's lightning martial veins seemed to have been provoked. An even more punishing pressure swept out. The lightning martial veins contained the supreme power of lightning that could not be provoked. In an instant, it devoured the yellow lightning into its body. The purple thunder profound cauldron seemed to have sensed that Du Xiaofu's qi had been exhausted. It began to break away from Du Xiaofu's control and began to devour the yellow lightning on its own. Du Xiaofu's lightning martial veins were also provoked. The most majestic and domineering, killing pressure surged in the sky. The ancient pressure spread out from Du Xiaofu's body. The soul-shaking aura was still spreading in the vast space far away. At this moment, the two types of lightning energy collided. Du Xiaofu's clothes were directly destroyed, and he began to be naked. However, his body was wrapped in the bright purple lightning and yellow lightning. He was wrapped in dazzling lightning runes and gradually became a huge lightning ball in the void. At this moment, under the devouring of Du Xiaofu's lightning martial veins and purple thunder profound cauldron, the bright lightning on the lightning giant tortoise's body was finally devoured to a terrifying extent. Fear appeared in the lightning giant tortoise's fierce eyes again. Unknowingly, the lightning giant tortoise found that it had fallen into a situation where it could not escape. What a strange human! How can this be? At that moment, the lightning tortoise seemed to have sensed something. Its gigantic tortoise body began to crumble, and bolts of yellow lightning were devoured uncontrollably. They landed in the three-legged cauldron and the strange human's body. Sizzle! The lightning giant tortoise became smaller and smaller as yellow lightning burst out. However, it could not stop the strange human and the three-legged cauldron from devouring it. Impossible! How can this human suppress me with such little strength? The lightning giant tortoise roared and released a terrifying energy. It wanted to forcefully destroy this space. At this moment, even if there were experts at the peak of the Nirvana realm, once they touched this terrifying destructive lightning, they would be directly destroyed. However, the lightning giant tortoise was unable to break free from the double suppression of the purple thunder profound cauldron and Du Xiaofu's lightning martial veins. The lightning giant tortoise was suppressed by the purple thunder profound cauldron. The purple gold profound cauldron erupted and devoured it crazily. Bang, bang, bang. The lightning giant tortoise began to collapse, and the bright yellow lightning in the vast space around it had been devoured. Human, do you want to devour me? Even the martial domain realm is not enough. You are courting death. Suddenly, an exceptionally bright yellow lightning flashed out of the shattered lightning tortoise's body. It actually broke free from the purple gold profound bombs, binding and devouring. With an incomparably terrifying speed, it directly appeared in the bright lightning ball that surrounded Du Xiaofu's body. Swoosh! The brightest yellow lightning burst out with the most destructive and violent aura. After it entered the lightning ball, it broke free from the binding of Du Xiaofu's lightning martial veins and went straight into Du Xiaofu's glabella. At this moment, the bright yellow lightning entered Du Xiaofu's glabella. Qila, a monstrous aura that could destroy one's primordial spirit, swept out in Du Xiaofu's mind and attacked Du Xiaofu's entire body. A thunderous roar resounded in Du Xiaofu's mind. Puny human, you are courting death. I will destroy your primordial spirit, and I will be you. Everything will be mine. Walala! Suddenly, the Naiwan palace in Du Xiaofu's mind seemed to have sensed this wild and violent destructive energy. A dazzling symbol rune flickered as it emitted an ancient and mysterious aura. In an instant, it transformed into waves of frightening energy that directly covered the resplendent yellow lightning. Roar! The bright yellow lightning burst out and turned into a ferocious lightning tortoise's head. It wanted to break free from the talisman rune's cover. Boom! The dazzling talisman rune emitted a bright divine light and a supreme aura spread. It wanted to suppress the world and destroy everything that came in from the outside. Roar! The lightning tortoise roared and released a terrifying aura to resist the cover of the dazzling talisman rune. The two of them were in a deadlock.